Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Minnesota Sports Talk, presenting Under the Lights with your hosts, Justin and Dave, next in 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, Vikings fans? This is Under the Lights with Justin and Dave. Not the show we wanted to be doing. We wanted to be previewing the divisional round of the playoffs, but alas, the Minnesota Vikings lose to the New York Football Giants 31-24. A back-and-forth affair in which the defense got a grand total of 2 stops, 2 whole punts in an entire playoff game. Pitiful, but hey, it was still a fun season. We can't pretend that that it wasn't worth the ride, that it wasn't fun. You know, the biggest comeback in NFL history at home against the Colts, the ridiculous game against the Buffalo Bills, and however many 11 one-score victories, 8 come from behinds, the whole shebang. Dave, how you feeling tonight?
I'm just grinding, ready for the offseason, man. Never sleeps. Got guests lined up through 2 weeks, and people still want to talk Viking football, so I'm ready to do it, man.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we're always gonna have content to create, people who want to talk, and that's why we do this. You know, it's a fun hobby and stuff, but we do it for the people. And in fact, that's the theme of our show tonight. This is going to be a fans only episode. What's up? What's going on to our extended family member, Vikings Uncensored? Right off the bat. Well, Rhino throws it right out there. It's been 48 hours. Why does Ed Donatel still have a job? Well, that's definitely going to be a talking point.
Question number one, man. Question number one.
You know, there is a part of me that's starting to prepare myself for the reality that he might be back and that they might say, hey, you know what? We put him in a position to fail because we had, you know, players from a 4-3, players that are over the hill, yada, yada. I'm not saying that that's what I would do. I'm just saying I'm starting to mentally prepare myself for that. And there is some level of truth to that. I don't entirely put all of the defensive failures on Ed Donatel. I put some of the failure on Kevin O'Connell, who hired him in the first place, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, and the Wills for saying this is the direction we wanted to go. And I'm also going to put some of it onto the players as well. I mean, the players were not all that good this year. There were moments here or there. There were some clutch plays, but they didn't live up to their billing as well. So it's always real easy. What's going on, McAndrews? Thanks for joining us. We appreciate
What's up, my brother?
We're going to get the link in here. We're going to get the link in here shortly. So if you just click on that, it'll put you into the backstage room. We'll get you on here, give you about 3 to 5 minutes to throw anything out there that you want. But having said that, back to Ed Donatel. You know what? It's real easy to just shoot all of the arrows at the offensive or defensive coordinator. If you go as far back as I do, remember the old Jerry Burns defending Bob Schnelker bit. That ain't Bob Schnelker's fault that AC couldn't pick up his feet and drop the ball on the flat. It ain't Bob Schnelker's fault that Tim Irwin jumped offside. But I digress. If you have not seen the Jerry Burns rant, it is the all-time of all-time rants. It is better than playoffs. It is better than they are who we thought you were. We thought they were, but
when you have a defensive scheme where you're rushing only 4 people and then you leave Eric Kendricks to guard 2 people, on almost every single down, there's more than a personnel problem.
Yes, indeed there is. So put your comments in the chat. Like I said, we're pretty much turning it over to the fans tonight. You know, I want to say thank you everybody who's joined us all season, both on Purple and Gold for Days, Minnesota Sports Talk, GG, Raps channel. I've just kind of gotten into the habit of just saying the whole Purple Coat family to get some mentions out there. But if you haven't already subscribed to both channels here, again, that's Purple and Gold for Days and Minnesota Sports Talk, please do. And like I said, we're going to have that link up here shortly. So if you want to get in on the conversation, let us know. Having said all that, what's your final takeaway, Dave? We did a 2 hours and 15 minutes Sunday night with Rhino and a couple of other people. I know you had your show yesterday, and I did with Mike as well. What are your final thoughts on this game and this season in general?
I was literally disgusted the whole game on the way our defense played, and we 10 400 plus yard games this season.
somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah, I can agree that players probably need to move on from some players. I think I saw Luke Braun over under 3.5 for how many of these players how many starters will be back next year. He might not be wrong.
No,
he might not be wrong. That might be. I might move it to 4.5. But 3.5 might be fair. And he'll be on later this week. I'm doing a solo show with him on Thursday. Which is awesome. Locked On versus Minnesota Sports Talk.
There you go.
Talk football. But that should be one of my more interesting shows I've ever done. But that being, just the pit of my stomach disgusted how, it took maximum effort on the offense to get us back to tied. And I know the absolute hate that's going on Twitter and around the YouTube sphere at Kirk Cousins over one play. 10 400-yard defensive performances, and we did 2 by the Giants that had one of the worst offenses in the league this year.
Yeah, they're pretty rudimentary offense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was. There's good qualities about it. But and he did the best he could, and shows how good a coach's Daboll is, and he probably does it now. Have the leg up on KOC after showing, just out coaching us
totally
against our defense. Anyways, out coaching against our defense in this game. Their defense didn't stop us. Like we stopped ourselves almost. False start on a quarterback sneak. Jesus, throwing behind the line of scrimmage twice.
That was the worst one. That was the biggest
with 2 drives. Yeah, with behind the line of scrimmage twice with 7 minutes to go in the game. Down by 7. Yeah, this is terrible. And then Irv Smith's going to drop a ball. Worst place to hit him is in his hands. We're going to talk about players that we think should and shouldn't be here for until the cows come home. The rest of this off, up until they start releasing players or people get signed. So I won't dwell on that right now. But yeah, that's my take. I was just disgusted by this defense. About 80% of the year, there was a 4-game stretch where I was giving them their props because they were. And I think, and I had said earlier in the year, individual efforts like, stripping the ball, a sack or interception or a nice play, where a guy made an individual effort to make it happen. And I just cannot fathom Donatel coming back. But that, I'm going to use your word. That being said, it scares me. KOC saying things like he did his best every week to make us better. And oh my God, I don't know if you saw that quote that was out there. KOC apparently in his interview was backing defending Donatel on his job he did this year, but the best job he could. And I'm like, you're just being political there. If you don't, people think so much less of you unless you're not on board with letting him go and finding a replacement. You have all this goodwill, man. KOC, you're a rookie head coach, set the record. You get all this goodwill, and it will be gone if you keep Donatel, honestly.
Well, there were times where we criticized Mike Zimmer for just being willy-nilly about firing his offensive coordinators or cutting his kickers. But, KOC seems to be the antithesis of Mike Zimmer in almost every single way. Offense versus defense, nice guy versus old school, new guy versus old. But
Zimmer couldn't fire himself the past 2 years.
That's true. He could not do that. But, this is the flip side of it. It's just like, okay, Mike Zimmer was too trigger happy at times to just fire people or cut people. And maybe, KOC's kind of the opposite, where it's just like, how do you not see that maybe this isn't the right direction? But into a discussion that was had in the group text on the Purple Code was, well, what are your options? Your options are A, to bring Donatel back and to try to continue this 3-4 that you started this year. bring somebody else that does the 3-4, in which case you still have a personnel issue because you still have a lot of 4-3 guys, or switch to somebody else who does a 4-3 and be changing the system yet again. There are no good options here. And part of the reason there are no good options is because we have a lot of old, over the hill, past their prime players making a lot of money against the salary cap. Part of the problem is that we haven't had an influx of draft talent in about 5 years. Both, some of those go to Kwesi and some of that goes to Rick Spielman as well. So let's not forget that. But, I mean, what's the best option? I don't know. I'm not saying that I am looking forward to the idea of Ed Donato being back, but I'm also not looking forward to switching the system for the, that would be the third system in 3 years. So I don't know, but that's why we have plenty of offseason, is to formulate opinions and thought processes and all kinds of other good stuff. Because to me, they're kind of in a dire situation here with what they're going to decide to do with roster construction, as well as, coaches and whatnot there. So having said all that, I'm going to address your Kirk Cousins statement here a moment ago. It is okay. Both things can be true. It can be true that Kirk Cousins and the offense were the only reason the Vikings were even in that game with how putrid and wretched the defense was. It's also okay to point out that for a bevy of reasons, that last play, and frankly, those last 2 drives, were inexcusable. It's inexcusable, to throw a pass on 4th down short of the sticks. It's inexcusable to have a play call that doesn't even really give you that many good options. You had Thielen and Jefferson running go routes, basically. I know, corner routes, this or whatever else that. You shouldn't be having them running 15, 20-yard routes when it's 4th and 8. The only real option on that play would have been KJ Osborne. Dalvin Cook hung back to chip, and even if Kirk had realized, okay, Hawkinson has no chance at this. If I dump it off to Dalvin Cook, he's one-on-one, but he's not very likely to pick up that first down. A pass to Thielen or Jefferson was extremely low percentage. So before we talk about Kirk Cousins and throwing that pass, let's also talk about Kevin O'Connell calling a play call that had a very low chance of success. Now, it is okay to point out, in spite of everything I just said, that was a bad decision. Now, maybe he had nothing but bad decisions in front of him, but I will still say, all right, when all's said and done, yeah, I know a lot of people have said, well, it was 4th and 18. He threw it up to Justin Jefferson and it worked. Okay, just because it worked that time doesn't mean it would have worked this time. But you also open up the possibility, I don't know, pass interference or holding or something like that. But I'm not going to blame Kirk Cousins for that loss. I'm not going to say that he's the reason that last drive failed. But I'm also not going to pretend that wasn't something that he – and again – people looked at the Zapruder film and let's analyze this, and he had a guy bearing down on him. If you actually look at his eyes from the moment he takes a snap, he pretty near locked on Hawkinson almost from the get-go. So, yeah, we can talk about the fact that there was a defensive player that was within a step of sacking him. That's very, very true. But he didn't even look anywhere else. So all I'm saying is that I'm not going to blame him for this loss, but I'm not going to absolve him for that last play. Does that last play wipe out everything he did in that game or everything else that he did this season? Absolutely not. So I will agree with you there that some of the discussion points about Kirk Cousins and that last pass are way too over the top. But I'm also not going to say that the discussion isn't warranted. What's up, Julian? Thanks for joining us. The link is in the chat. So I didn't mute Dave. What are you talking about, Raph?
Thanks on mute. I was on mute. I was talking.
Oh, okay.
I must have coughed or something, and I put myself on mute because I was talking during that thing.
Fair enough.
I think, for instance, like you're saying that he was locked on to his tight end on that play from the hike. No, he wasn't. He was Justin Jefferson was the number one read. You're right about 15, 20-yard your 15, 20-yard routes. Well, actually, you're wrong because they were longer than 15, 20 yards. The only thing that would have ended those routes would have been the end zone.
Well, right. I mean, 15 or more, 15, 20 or more.
So I would have thought maybe Justin Jefferson doing a comeback, like a sharp comeback to the outside, it's to depth, and Hawkinson not chipping. not chipping, but that starts off with Justin Jefferson being solo on the outside.
Yeah, put him in motion
to allow him
somebody.
allow him to be double, triple team. I mean, and this is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff I'm seeing. Here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to look for excuses to give this man a free pass for soiling himself in the biggest moment of his career. I was a fool for defending this bum. Phil Mackey, Jay Zolgad, and Dex's tweets were right all along. No heart, total clown show. That's our quarterback. That's the stuff I've been seeing. That's over the top. That's over the top. That's what made me become a podcaster, a YouTuber. Is a absolute I was going to say circle blank, but echo chamber that YouTube was when I first started watching it. So I'm not going to go to that soil himself, total clown show, all that. The read on that most likely was KJ Osborne. And he ran such an awful route that play and the play before. Where's the effort there? I mean, the play before, Kirk Cousins blamed himself. I wish I had it back. Would have let him more. He still wouldn't have. He still would have been covered on that play because he rounded off at both of his routes, the play before and this play. Yeah, you want him to throw it past the chains. Is the receiver looking? Where's he going to go? Do you have enough time? That literally 1-2 guys in his face. And he threw it. There are people that will defend Kirk Cousins and say, I mean, I tweeted right, hey, Kirk Cousins effed up. I tweeted that right away. And my second thought was, oh yeah, people are going to crucify him. Crucify him for that. But then there are people out there that are saying, hey, people have thrown, we have thrown short of the chains and got first downs before. I mean, that is a fact. I mean, New York threw short of the chains a lot and got plenty of first downs against us.
Well, they are playing our defense, so there's a little higher chance of success.
Well, I mean, it's the 26th ranked defense in the league, right. And we got a 6'5", 200, and God knows how many yards against a defensive back. In Kirk Cousins' belief was that gave me the best chance. Is it right? Maybe not. Maybe it is. Who knows? We won't know. But that play is over, and we're going to. And we can get. I know you did your pie chart of and you gave him like 20. Or did
I gave him 10%. I gave him the lowest amount, and it's more about disappointment.
Fair. I say 5. I mean, because that's one play compared to absolute disgusting performance by our defense.
You're right.
But yeah, I mean. There's people that flipped a switch after that play. They've been defending, they've been defending Kirk all year. One play, year. It was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It was like I had a better word for it earlier today. Like, I mean, it's like, they're waiting for it to happen. Mm-hmm. And if we lost next week to San Francisco by 14 points, it would have happened then.
Pretty much.
If we didn't make it, if we didn't win the Super Bowl, it would have been that game too. I mean, it wouldn't have been any game, no matter how it ended. It would have been that game. It wouldn't have been, and it just so happens, 4th and 8, last play, down by 7. He didn't make the play. He didn't give us a chance. Is what I looked at as he didn't give us a chance, but there wasn't much chance to be had if he throws it early to those other guys. Like, I think maybe one-on-one with Thielen, potentially. But I thought maybe Dalvin Cook, but now he's got to throw it over the big fucking guy that's about to kill him. And, and has Dalvin been catching the ball? He's been falling down more than he's been catching the ball, So I don't know. There was just a horrible play call. I wanted someone coming back, doing a 15 and come back, a hard comeback. You got to break off your route better than that, KJ. That was awful. I don't chip with TJ Hawkinson. I put him on a route.
Key. Yeah.
I put him on a route. And apparently Dalvin Cook, and to be fair on Cleveland, apparently Dalvin Cook clipped Cleveland's heel. So I apologize, Cleveland. You got his foot clipped, and that's why he got beat. And I guess that's why Bradbury let him go and tried to help out with Thibodeau. But all he did was spin around and fall down. He didn't block shit.
Yeah,
but it didn't hurt. But anyways, I'm ready to move on and go. Let's go. I know there's gonna be just YouTube channels that are gonna focus on. I mean, that was realistic. Randy's quote. Yeah. And he's already done a show where getting rid of Kirk Cousins. So I'm like, okay, let's go. Kirk Cousins our quarterback this year. I get it. Let him play out his contract or extend him. I don't care. But he's going to be our quarterback this year. We got plenty of places where that he is probably one of the lower problems on our team right now. That's my opinion. So
let me give some shouts in here. Raymond, thanks for joining us. I had your chat up there, but we just wanted to say hello to you as well. My worthless opinion, one of my favorite followers. I agree. Cousin isn't the problem. His contract is. He's paid to be the solution. That's my quote, is that Cousins is not the problem, but he's not necessarily the solution either. But that's a whole nother discussion that we could theoretically get into. I'm not going to put all the Raps chats up here, but yeah, he called out your boy, Realistic Randy. Tommy, thanks for joining us. Until after he was forced out to the ring. Well, maybe the angle I saw, it looked like that he was, but oh, look at that. Rap actually had a serious comment. He did play good. Yeah, he did. And that's the thing. And I'm going to get back to Rhino's comment here in a second, but that really addresses some of that other stuff. But here's one that I think if Kirk were only making $12 million, we'd have somewhat of a different opinion. Well, yeah, because then we'd have more money to fix the rest of the issues. But at the same time, that's what his market value is. We can, if Patrick Mahomes was only making 20 instead of 50, the Chiefs they could have kept Tyreek Hill. I mean, you could play that game till you're blue in the face. Let's see here. Raymond's got thinking Kirk would have rolled out more. Yeah, maybe.
That would be another play call. Another play call where we give us a little more time.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah, we do have bigger fish. I said it yesterday. I think if I'm going to talk about anything in that game, Kirk is about the seventh thing on the list at best. But to Rhino's point, the only starting quarterback's making $12 million on rookie deals, and that's kind of the discussion.
Their fourth and fifth year of the rookie deal. Yeah.
Right. But I want to circle back to something that Rhino had, and this is one of the best ones we've had so far. That is the problem with the civil war between the Kirk stands and the Kirk haters. There is no in between. He can either do no wrong or he can do no right, and that is 100% spot on. And that is what drives me crazy as somebody who is in the middle, which is, okay, if you tell me he sucks, I'm sorry, you're wrong, and you're crazy for saying that he sucks. If you're saying he's elite, like he's right there with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and company and Joe Burrow, no, he's not that either. He's a very good but not elite quarterback. The problem, so to speak, and Kirk Cousins is not the only quarterback that fits this mold. So this isn't about Cousins. This is about the concept here. You have elite quarterbacks, borderline Hall of Fame quarterbacks making market value. That's one kind of quarterback. You have rookie quarterbacks on their rookie contracts who are exceeding that contract. Guys like Jalen Hurts, as an example. Guys like Joe Burrow. I don't want to have a discussion about Justin Herbert versus Kirk Cousins, but simply put, Justin Herbert isn't on his market value deal. He's on a rookie deal. To a certain extent, you could make that case about Lamar Jackson. Again, he's about to not be on his rookie contract anymore, so that argument's going to go away for him, but I think you get the point. And then you have a slew of other quarterbacks like Cousins and Carr and Dak Prescott and Jared Goff and a slew of other guys that are not elite quarterbacks, but they're very, very good. All those guys I just said, they're better than Case Keenum and Teddy Bridgewater and Andy Dalton and all of these other slobs on the other bad teams around the league right now. So, yeah, it's a lot easier to build a roster that can contend for a Super Bowl when you have either an elite quarterback, regardless of how much money he makes, or a quarterback who is exceeding their contract that is still on a rookie contract, because you can build out the rest of the roster. That third category that Kirk Cousins fits into is, I'm a very good quarterback, but I'm making market value, which takes resources away from other places on your team. I'm not saying it's impossible. Matthew Stafford was one of those guys. He was on his market value contract. Now, yes, he himself didn't cost the Rams as much as Kirk Cousins does. But when you factor in the fact that Jared Goff's dead money was still on their books, the Rams were paying a quarterback market value. And so they hit the lottery. They timed out everything. They got everything they possibly could, and they suck right now. And guess what? We as Vikings fans would take that deal in a New York minute. So all I'm going to say about Kirk Cousins at this point is I am okay if the Vikings bring him back for the last year of his contract, and then we see where the chips fall after next season. I'm okay if they made the choice to say, you know what? We're finally going to listen to the people who have said running it back over and over and over again doesn't get us anywhere but mediocrity if they decided to trade him. I'm not okay extending him right now. And the reason I say that is, number one, he's going to be 35 at the end of the year next year, pert near 36. We've got so many other holes to fill that I don't want to commit to a very good quarterback at market value when there are so many other holes to fill. That's not a slight at Kirk Cousins. That's a slight of the way this roster is constructed. You're not going to get anywhere if you continue with a good quarterback at market value when you've got so many other holes on the roster. So I want to be clear that I'm not saying that I think Kirk Cousins he's got to go. You can't win with him. I'm saying that the way this team is built right now, you can't win with a quarterback like him. I mean, so I'm okay with every option except for extending him. And that's not a shot at him. That's just a shot at the situation that the Vikings have put themselves in. So that's my thought. Anybody want to join the chat? Rap, I know you're not. Hopefully you're feeling better. First off, Rap, you put out a couple of videos.
We put the link out there.
The link is in the chat, and it's on both pages there. So if you want to get in, just click on that. It'll put you in the back, and we'll get you on here. Say that again.
I gotta go to another page to enter it. You know, I just put the link in there if anybody wants to join.
Yeah, I put it in too.
So I don't know. Getting I think Declan Goff put in a tweet of this, like we've wasted. I've said it. We've wasted 3 years of Justin Jefferson, who's broke almost every pass and receiving record of the Vikings and set several NFL records. And he's referring to Kirk. Mostly, and. No, man, we've had the 3 years in a row with the shittiest defenses, one of the shittiest defenses in the league. We gotta, great. We don't have enough money to pay them. How other teams do it, man? How do other teams do it? That have that much money. I put a lot of weight on coaching, and we missed the mark on our defensive coordinator this year. And yeah, I think we can switch. We can switch back to a 4-3 at no problem. Why? Because Danielle Hunter is out of position. If we stick with a 3-4, I'm on board with getting rid of him this year. There's no need to have that guy playing outside linebacker.
I agree.
Anybody could play outside linebacker. All right. I mean, if we went to a 4-3, we would have a nice little combo with Jones and Wanham and Danielle Hunter, and then we would have 2 defensive tackles and another guy, Tonga, that can rotate in at the 2 defensive tackle positions. I still would want a nice little 3 technique, right? But hey, and then right there, our line is fixed. Yeah. We would fix our line right there. It would be one of the better defensive lines in the league instead of one of the worst.
We got our first guest of the evening here, but let's just go ahead and
who is it?
Who do you know?
Are you doing? Is this a home repair show? Is this a home repair show?
I gotta paint my garage. Can y'all hear me good though? Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah, we got you. You in surround sound, but no, we got you. How you feeling? First off, man, how you doing?
I'm doing a little better, man. For real, I'm doing a little better. Honestly,
you seem you got the energy.
Yeah,
you got the energy.
Back of my BS, man. Y'all got me started. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry for calling out your boy, man.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't even gonna bring that up until I was like after Dave went on his monologue about both things can be true and stuff. So I said, well, I'm not talking about you, Dave. I'm talking about things like this.
Yes.
let me just say this, man. Like y'all know I be playing around with Kirk and talking about trash. Listen, Kirk didn't play a bad game. Obviously, anybody that knows football knows that he didn't play a bad game. But hey, look, I just put it like this, right? When you got to play like that and somebody's sitting in your lap, we have to understand that our offensive line is going to be the same next year. And hold on, let me turn the lights on so y'all can see me. Our offensive line is most likely going to be the same next year. You know what I'm saying? And all I'm saying is this: I'm tired of hearing about him getting hit every play and this, that, and the third. Yes, I'm okay with keeping him next year, but I'm just saying I want somebody who can improvise. Not so much of a I don't need a we don't need a runner like a Lamar Jackson, but somebody who can at least, because if you do look at that play, the right side of the field was wide open, and even a 38-year-old Aaron Rodgers would have
We were
rolled that
talking
play
about
out.
that rolling out. We were talking about having a rollout play on that.
But Kirk's like, and he's a good quarterback. Like I agree with that. He is a good quarterback, but there is certain things that he doesn't do, and that just happened to bite him on that type of play because if you can extend that play, that gives time for a JJ or a KJ to break open because those unscripted plays, we see it all the time when those quarterbacks can drag the play on for an extra 2 or 3 seconds. That can mean the world, But Kirk, it's either the throw's there or it's not. You know what I mean? And if the offensive line breaks down, the play's over with. You know what I mean? He'll take a hit and still throw a dart a lot of times, but hey, it just happens like that, man. I'm telling you though, I'm on the go get our quarterback, man. Dave, you said draft a quarterback every year now. Don't let me down.
I've said that, yeah, and I would think we would do. I would think we'd last year, especially because we had no backup. I thought we had no backup. So yeah, I liked a couple of guys in that draft, and they fell to the third round. So I'm like, fuck yeah, let's draft somebody. This year we got our backup quarterback. I think if we re-sign Mullins, I'm happy with that as our backup quarterback. That play you're talking about, initially it looked like it was protected. I didn't notice till later until someone brought it up that Cook clipped Cleveland's heel, and that's when he let the guy go, and it was right, and that made him right in Cousins' face. So I could see a quarterback not realizing, thinking everything's fine, and then all of a sudden disaster struck. But yeah, I think me and Dave both agreed that a rollout would have been a nice little situation, in that play. Have a JJ do a comebacker at 15 yards, anything. Other than what happened,
and then just this one more thing on this, and then we can get off because we're going to be talking about this play probably for the next 9 months. You know what I mean?
Right.
And,
10 years probably.
Yeah, and look, I understand. Like honestly, like I said before, anybody who understands football knows. Like, I mean, Kirk's not the reason we lost, but I had faith though that we went all these fourth quarter comebacks, 8-0, 11-0, and one score games. But it's just weird that it's all in the regular season. Yes, they matter, but when it's a do or die game, and that's why the narrative is what it is on him, and it's none of our fault on this panel. Like it just is what it is. Like it just happened how it happened, and guess what? He throws a check down, bro. Like what people call it. I feel bad for him, to be real. Because I mean, now the narrative is just going to intensify. If you go watch the media this morning, they're destroying them. They're destroying them, bro. Like for real. I feel bad for him, but you being a 10-year veteran, I don't care if JJ is triple covered, bro. You throw the ball down. You don't even look at TJ Hawkinson, bro. You throw the ball to JJ, man. I don't care. That's how I felt about the situation. I don't care. You throw it up because you might can get a pass interference or something. You know what I mean? Throw it. Give your best player on the team and you don't even give him a chance. Like that don't make no sense to me.
I agree, man. I said it when you tweeted that, you throw in the PI possibilities, but why do we have JJ on an island out there and TJ Hawkinson chipping? I mean, that was just hey, let's take our best player out of the play from the get-go. That was a JJ as a decoy, but he was our first read. I don't get it. That was set up as JJ as a decoy, but he was our first read. Because honestly, KJ was the only guy that could have got, past the chains and open on that play, but he ran an awful route. But yeah, I agree. Throw it up to somebody.
But this is my thing too with Kirk though. he has to stop relying always on just if the coach doesn't make the right read, then the play's not going to work. You know what I mean? At some point, you have to be a veteran, 10-year quarter, bruh. You are the franchise quarterback, bruh. Listen, he calls the play, yeah. And even Kevin O'Connell was leaning towards that in his press conference. Like Kevin O'Connell's so nice where he's trying to take the blame for it, but you can read between the lines where Kevin O'Connell's like, Kirk, like, you were supposed to, take that risk, bro. You were supposed to take that chance regardless. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to take the chance, bro. You can't always, you're a grown man, bro. You've been in the league long enough. You're a veteran and we believe in you. You have to take those chances, bro. You can't always depend on the coach to make the perfect call for you in a crunch time like that, man. You've been doing it all year. So I was expecting us to win. I ain't gonna lie. When we were down by a touchdown and we were moving, I'm like, this is right where we want them, bro. We're about to.
Yeah, I remember you said that. I'm like,
yeah, I say we got them right where we want them, bro. I was confident, but you know what? We had a great season, though, man. We'll get off the Kirk thing. We've been talking about it long enough, but yeah, we had a great season, and you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to be thankful, man, for because like I said, like I keep saying in my videos, there's gonna be 31 teams that feel just like us at the end of in the next couple weeks, and guess what? There's a team last night, Tampa Bay. They feel like us right now, and they got mollywopped last night on Monday Night Football. So you know, it's the pain of the game, man.
Well, to James' point here, yes. How about the defense makes that again? We started off by saying how putrid the defense was, and it is one of those. Yes, it is unfortunate, and I said this right after the Detroit game. The headline for my Monday musings was Kevin O'Connell outsmarts himself. And unfortunately, through the first 12 games of the season, he hadn't outsmarted himself. But the last handful of games, it's just like, what were you thinking? Why are you trying to be the smartest guy in the room? Why are you trying to say, oh, look at how crazy an idea I had, and then I can say how well that works? To me, it's like, okay, there is no reason on the second drive of the game when you went down the field, scored a touchdown, and then they went right down the field and answered you on 3rd and 1. There is no reason you should be doing this dipsy doodle. I'm going to have Cousins throw a backwards pass to Jefferson, who's then going to throw a pass to Kirk Cousins. That's one example of Kevin O'Connell outsmarting himself. The second to the last drive we talked a little bit about earlier, where you had 2 of your 3 plays on that 3-and-out be swing
past the running back, and then they dusted off the tight end screen.
Honestly. So
damn it.
But the other thing that I had said was it's unfair to the offense because unfortunately the offense was going to have to carry this defense. And so unfortunately, when it comes down to that last play, are we overanalyzing it? Probably. Is the national media overanalyzing it? Absolutely. But you knew going into it that was the only way you could win, was the offense to be dang near perfect on almost every drive.
I look at it like this. The position we were in that game is the position we were in every single game that we won this season. What was the difference? Yes, our defense played horrible, but we were down by 7 and we have the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like with plenty of time to go score. Like we were in the same position we've been in 11 times. So, I mean, I don't get what the big deal. I know the defense was horrible. Yes. When has the defense not been horrible? That's what I'm trying to figure out. You know what I'm saying? Like every game we won, the defense has been horrible. But hey, Kirk and them they pull it through. You know what I mean? Like the offense, they come through and we knew this from the beginning of the season.
In a lot of those games, we did get some help from the defense, like turnovers.
We turnovers.
We didn't get any turnovers.
Or they made a couple stops in the fourth quarter, you know.
Yeah, but I still look at it like this, Dave. But we still were only down 1 possession, regardless. Though we still were only down 1 possession.
Here's the counter to that, Rep.
Which was a miracle. I ain't gonna lie, which is a miracle.
Exactly. They really should have been down more than that. Because
we should have.
The Giants.
If Slayton wouldn't have dropped that ball,
thank you. I was just gonna say.
Oh God, yeah. Slayton doesn't drop the ball. He's running for 40 yards.
Yeah. It was over with anyway, so.
Jesus. I had the stat, and I don't remember it off the top of my head, but in the Vikings' 4 regular season losses, they were -9 in the take-give, only getting 1 turnover and committing 10 turnovers themselves. When they got 2 or more turnovers, they were 8-0. So realistically, the offense, as you said, Rap, is exactly where it was all year. This entire offense all year, yes, it made clutch plays, but the differences in the games where the defense didn't necessarily say, oh, the defense won this game. Defense didn't win a single game this year. Let's be clear. But in the
maybe
games
Green Bay.
I think you called that one game and the defense won it. I think it was the Buffalo game.
And Buffalo. I'd have to say Buffalo too, because Buffalo they I ain't gonna lie, they clinched that shit up.
Defense they only gave up 3 points in the second half to Buffalo. Yeah, it was on that final drive where they had that complete pass that wasn't even incomplete. But the point I'm making here is that the games they won, even in this scenario you're talking about, the defense did enough to say, okay, we're not holding up our end of the bargain, but we're at least going to throw a little something into the pot, which they did not do on Sunday. Let me get some shout outs in here. We done been talking a whole
What's up, squad in the building, man? My bad. I can't see the comments. I'm on my cell phone.
We got James in the house. Thanks again for rapping.
We're behind. More people are chatting with us.
I know. Dave, thanks for joining us. Very much appreciated. There's a difference between a runner and a scrambler. Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Another James up in here. How about the defense makes that? Yeah, we talked about that. Deep shot, Jake. What's up, my brother? Thanks again for joining. I appreciate you. He just
drop shot, man. Drop shot, Jake.
I see that icon everywhere.
Yes, I know.
What is it?
Drop shot. Thanks for coming. We all know Skull Mafia is in the building. Thank you kindly. Purple Gang is right. Let's see. Dave Thibodeau's in the house. Thank you kindly for joining us, Dave. We appreciate you. Is there anybody else? No, I think I've gotten them all here, but make them punt. Yes,
Case Ben Washington and split for LA after the Dwayne Haskins forced upon him to develop. Oh, right.
Well, no, that's a very good point that Tommy. Thanks, Tommy. Very appreciate it. What he's saying is that when Washington.
He doesn't want to be a feature.
He then went out there, so maybe he doesn't want to go down develop a rookie quarterback route, maybe. And that's a very fair point. That's a very fair point.
The thing is, man, we eventually gonna have to do something.
That's the key. At some point, and it gets back to, and I forget which commenter had it up there a moment ago, is at what point do we actually, and not just taking like a 4th or a 5th round flyer, when do we actually use some of the draft capital?
When do we realize that Kirk Cousins isn't the only mug that can throw a football, dog? That's the main. When do we realize as Vikings fans that Kirk Cousins is not the only quarterback that can play football in the world? Okay, there's other options, bro. We did it for 6 years. It didn't work. It's time to move on, and the experiment is over. We brought Kirk Cousins in 2018 to get us over the hump. 5 years, but we're going to go into 6. We brought him in to get us over the hump. We won 13 games with Case Keenum. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, bro. Like, I'm just saying, though. Like, and don't get me wrong. I'm okay with running back with Kirk next year. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just stating the obvious. Like, when you keep doing something over and over and over again, then don't worry. What do you call that? It's called insanity. And yes, every year we can keep saying, well, the O-line and this. And guess what? We're going to extend them, and we're going to have the same argument next year. Well, the defense didn't make stops, or the O-line didn't block for him. Listen, You need somebody who can overcome some of your defaults, man. That's what you need. And you gotta take your shots to get there. I'm not saying that you can just draft somebody this year and you're going to come up with a Mahomes, but you have to at least take a chance. You know what I mean? Like, you keep kicking a 35-year-old can down the road, keep extending them. Like, I mean, eventually he's going to become 40. He already can't move like that. You know what I mean? He already can't improvise. He's not an improviser. He's a drop back quarterback. If the play's there, he can make the throw. But if other than that, the play's over. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, if the line don't hold up, it's over, or he going to take a shot to the mouth, which he proved he can do good at this year. But is that going to work again next year?
Right.
Probably not. You know what I'm saying?
Let's be clear. This is what I said. I agreed with signing him when they did. And I liked that they only signed him to a 3-year deal. The issues that I have had is that they have kept extending him, and it's not just about him. They shouldn't have extended Anthony Barr. All due respect, they shouldn't have extended Dalvin Cook.
Anthony Barr balled out last night.
Yeah, okay. And when's the last time before last night he did? I mean, that's one game. But having said that, the legacy contracts that they gave to Adam Thielen and Harrison Smith, you know, this is why this team is where they are, is because for the last 3, 4, 5 years, they've tried to keep this window open. It's something that I've said multiple times about the Wilfs and their mentality. It's like they're afraid that if they take a step back for a year or two, that they're going to lose this fan base and that they're going to lose out on gate money. It's like, we are Vikings fans. We are going to stick around. We're not going anywhere. It's okay. Yeah, you're rolling the dice by doing what Chicago did. As an example, Chicago said, we're throwing this season away. We're trading Khalil Mack. We're not bringing back Akeem Hicks. We're getting rid of all of these old players. We're taking our salary cap lumps this year, and now they got the number 1 draft pick, and they've got a whole bunch of cap room. Now, does that guarantee that the Chicago Bears are going to win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years? No, it does not. But what it does do is it gets them out of that mediocrity to bad to say, we're going to be real bad, we're going to clear the decks, and we're going to rebuild our roster. The Wilfs are desperately afraid to do that. And for whatever, I don't know if they think that they're going to lose money. I don't know if they think they're going to lose the fan base, like I said. But when you continuously run it back and just make cursory small moves here or there and renegotiate contracts and push salary cap dead money out, that's why this team doesn't have a whole lot of salary cap space. Yes, they can make moves and free up 30, 40 million. But 30, 40 million in 2023 isn't the same as what 30 or 40 million was 10 years ago. Now 30 or 40 million is really like 80 or 90. So I guess all I'm saying to me is we've tried to keep this window open, and this window has been closed. Yes, this year was awesome, but this window is closed. Thank you, Skull Mafia. You had it right there. The window is shut. It's time to clear the decks of old players and bad contracts. Whether that is uncensored.
You guys think no chance next year then?
No chance what?
Window's shut. You just said we both agree the window's shut.
I think the window's shut I think the window is shut for like the way our roster is set up right now. Yeah, like next year, like how they saying. Like, yes, if next year, if we start, restructuring Eric Kendricks and the older players on this team and think we're going to just run it back and add a couple little young pieces, then yeah, it's going to be the same results, man. It's going to be the same exact results, bro. Like Kirk Cousins is going to get pressure in his face 90% of the time. You know what I'm saying? The O-line's going to be trash. The defense is going to be damn near at the bottom. And we're going to have this same argument on, well, the reason why Kirk can't get us over the hump is because the defense doesn't stop things or the O-line doesn't block him enough. I'm telling you, bro, like it's the same argument. It's been the same argument since 2018, bro. Like it seriously hasn't. I'm just tired of running it back.
Just curious. With the point you made earlier is like, we're the same entire argument. Line can't block for him. Kirk can't overcome it. Yeah, he did. He did this year.
Did he?
In the regular season, yeah.
13 wins, yeah.
To answer your question about the window, if this team decided to restructure,
didn't he? Didn't he not?
I mean, Case Keenum got 13 wins. Case Keenum got 13 wins, and everybody thought that, you know what I mean, that was all lightning in the bottle and shit. It took Kirk 5 years to get to that motherfucker. You know what I'm
saying? Okay, so it didn't happen then.
We're not saying that, Dave. What we're saying
we're not saying it didn't happen.
If this team ran it back next year, what would they be? They would be a team that could compete for the division and that would hope to get into the playoffs and would hope to set their sights.
Is firing Donatil and revamping the defense, running it back?
If all you did was change the defensive coordinator, and you brought back the vast majority of the same players, then yes, that's running it back.
Okay, but if we don't do that, is it not running? Because obviously our defense was shit this year, and if we make drastic changes to our defense, you don't think there's potential for a big time improvement?
What's up, Bandito? Not big enough to win a Super Bowl. No. And my mindset at the moment is if you telling me we could quote unquote run it back or bring some of the elements back and make some cursory changes, that gets us back to where we are right now, which is a team that.
I'm just asking, and I'm not trying to be.
No, it's fine.
I'm just asking your viewpoint here. So your thing is, you got to play basically Kirk Cousins next year. You say don't extend him, play 1 year. We play mediocre. We get a 15, 20 spot draft pick, and then because of that, we don't get a replacement quarterback. So we then do what Chicago did because they didn't have a quarterback, right? And they were like, oh, this is the time we can go get one now. And they did. They got Fields. It was a result of their situation. So you're saying to do the Chicago thing, let Kirk leave, then tank the next year so we can, or trade as much whatever to get more things to get a first round pick and tank. Is that the thought process? Is play this next year out. We're not going to go anywhere. Window shut. Then we have to tank the next year to be in Chicago's apparently wonderful situation. I'm just asking. Is that the thought process behind that?
That ain't what I'm saying.
What are you saying? I want to hear it.
I'm saying go for the quarterback this year. I'm saying go for the quarterback this year.
What are we picking? Like 26, 8?
23.
I don't care where you're picking.
23? Okay,
You can. And look, we hired Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi. We hired them partially to get their guy. You know what I mean? Yes, everybody and their mama knew that it would be the smartest thing for a rookie head coach and a GM to bring back Kirk Cousins. Like that just makes the most sense.
If quarterback drops to 23. Yeah, take it. Yeah. You take your guy.
There might be a guy. You never know. You know, now I agree with you, Dave. We have bigger fish to fry on the defense. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? But, there's some spots we can fill in free agency with the defense. I just think that it's time to get a guy because you don't want to wait till the last minute. I don't want to wait until, okay, now we're done with Kirk. Now we got to wait for the draft and hope that. No, let's get somebody in there this year and see if we have some potential at least take a shot. That's all I'm saying, dog. You got to take a chance because you cannot keep extending. Rick wants Kirk for like 5 more years, bro. Like, seriously, bro. He wants to extend it. He's like guaranteed he should be our quarterback for 5. I'm like, yo, this is deeper than just Vikings football for you. You know what I mean? This isn't about Vikings football. This is about your beliefs in Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't got nothing to do with the team winning and what's best for a football team. Like, you can look at the landscape of the NFL and see that, you don't need a Kirk Cousins. We can sit there and say, okay, Kirk Cousins is an elite quarterback if you want to, right? Well, it's obvious now that you don't really need that to win 8, 9, 10 games. Like, do you think losing Kirk is going to risk us that many games? Like, let's be honest here. Bro. When you got Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson going to catch whoever throwing to him, bro. I can throw the ball to Justin Jefferson. He's been good since he's been playing Pop Warner. Kirk Cousins ain't been his quarterback his whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like, what makes people think that Kirk's the only guy that can make Justin Jefferson have a good season? I don't get that, bro.
You know his story, right?
I know he was like a 2-star recruit and all that, but he's still what they savage.
Just asking. I'm just asking.
Still what they savage his whole life, man. Come on, man. All I'm saying is, look, I don't have any problems with Kirk as far as how he played this season, but I do have a problem with running it back over and over again with the same quarterback. Like I thought of Kirk as the type of guy that you bring in to get over the hump. All right, it's been long enough. Okay, like that's all I'm saying. It's just been long enough. At some point we just have to hang it up and move on, bro, so we can get this new process started. Like, we changed everything else. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Like, why not, bro? We're not gonna miss him that much, bro. He's replaceable. All right, he's replaceable.
So to answer your question, Dave,
Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Stop.
That was brought up here a couple times in the chat. By the way. I know you can't see it. What I'm saying is this: after 2019, when they lost to San Francisco, I was ready to transition then because all we've been doing for the last 3 years is spin our wheels. Now, yes, the first 2 of those years we were 7-9 and 8-9 and barely missed the playoffs. This year we won the division, got into the playoffs, and lost in the first round. Yes, we can keep spinning our wheels, and we probably could for another year. I'll just say 1 more year, do exactly what we did this year, which was to be competitive for a division and get a home playoff game in the first round. Where does that get you? It gets you needing everything to go perfectly well. That's what happened this year. Near everything went perfectly well. We got so many breaks, won so many close games, came up with some ridiculously clutch plays, which is all well and good. We don't have to apologize for that. We don't have to give those wins back. But what have I been saying? What have we all been saying? Is that sustainable? And so, yes, you could push through 1 more year, and then you're going to start your process over. I'm saying that if they said, we're going to start our process now of tearing it down to rebuild it back up, I wouldn't have an issue with that. And I wouldn't be pissed off that, they got rid of Kirk Cousins, and if we hadn't done that, we would have been a playoff team. I don't care about being a playoff team. I care about being a Super Bowl contending team. And right now, this roster is not a Super Bowl contending roster. So to me, my choices are, do I continue with a non-Super Bowl contending roster that could make the playoffs, and your ceiling is around the divisional round of the playoffs, and if you get real, real lucky, you could get to the NFC Championship game? Or do I want to just take a step back and start a new process that hopefully can get us back to that level? I understand that it's a lot of rolling the dice.
What's your time limit?
As long as it takes.
Why can't we just use 2017 as a blueprint?
Number one defense. Why can't we?
You want to know why? Because we had money to spend to make our defense fire like that. That's why. Ever since we signed Kirk, of course we're not going to be able to have the number one defense because he took up a lot of the cap.
That's part of it. The other part,
and he didn't make up for what we lost. That's the problem. Is he didn't make up for what we lost.
Bradford was getting paid, wasn't he? He was getting paid pretty good.
Bradford was getting paid 12. He wasn't getting paid 28.
And then we had 3 quarterbacks.
So Bradford was 12, Keenum was 3, and Teddy was 4. So that's
okay. So we had $20 million to the cap.
Yeah, and Eric
next year we were paying 28.
Eric Kendricks was on a rookie contract. Diggs and Thielen were on rookie contract. Yeah. Anthony Barr was on a rookie contract.
Good timing, right? With all those other players on rookie contracts, we're in a different situation where we got a lot of older players with extended contracts. And
that's my whole
your time limit is whatever it takes.
Yes, I am willing
rebuild it, and we could suck like the Jets for 15 years.
Dave, let me ask you this. Hold on, Dave. Answer this, Dave. Hold on, go ahead.
KOC won't be here in 10 years if it were shitty for 10 years. I'm just saying.
The point. The point is.
What's the point then? I don't get it.
Kirk will still be here 10 years from now.
He won't. I mean, we're talking about we're in a podcast the second 2 days after the game talking about 2025 season.
What I am saying, Dave, is this.
We're saying lose, and we're 2 days after the season.
I ain't saying lose.
With a team with the 7th best offense in the league, and we're saying we don't have enough to go to the Super Bowl next year.
We don't.
Of course we don't. We didn't get there yet, but we could. And you're saying, hey, let's talk about we're not doors shut. God, that's going to be a shitty year of podcasting if my co-host and I are talking about how the door's shut this year. Don't watch us.
Before the season even started.
It's going to drive me nuts all year long. I guarantee it.
Here's my point. I'm saying that I am willing to roll the dice on the likelihood that this team could be bad for a year or two under the reward of possibly getting out of this mediocre middle, this purple purgatory, this – the thing about the Vikings is they're very rarely trash, but they're also very rarely outstanding. They're always, for the most part, stuck in that middle. As Rhino said earlier, they're never...
Regardless of who the quarterback is.
Exactly.
Which is even more evidence.
They're never...
Don't matter who the quarterback is. We're always at least going to win 7-8 games.
They're never in a position to be bad enough to have a
13.
top 5 pick. Okay? But they're never great enough to have a 3-year sustained window to compete for Super Bowls. What I'm saying is that, yes, I am willing to accept the possibility of a couple of bad years that may turn it around to become a Super Bowl contender again, and it may continue for 3 or 4 years beyond that. I'm willing to in order to get to a point where we get out of the middle and try something different. We had Christian Ponder. Christian Ponder got brought up here. And by no means, do not anybody come up in here and say that I'm comparing Ponder to Cousins, because I'm not.
I'm about to say, man, don't be super willing.
That's your situation.
But don't be super well in here tonight, man.
We drafted a quarterback to be our future franchise quarterback.
Yes.
Twice.
Yes.
In recent history.
And what happened?
Yeah, but Teddy Bridgewater was an unfortunate situation.
Exactly. They're not with us anymore. We went to the playoffs once with Christian Ponder. We went to the playoffs
and with Teddy.
And we went to the playoffs once with Teddy.
We had one of the best offensive lines in the league in a 2,000
yard. There's always an excuse. That's what I'm saying. That's what we say. Things have to be perfect.
There's always an excuse.
Well, do they have to be perfect? Yeah, because every time we say something, you keep bringing up. You keep bringing up reasons on why those other quarterbacks. I know you were probably a
Jets fan at that point in 2012.
Oh, well, Case Keenum made it because we had the number 1 defense. Christian Ponder made it because we had the best running back. Like, okay, we have the best receiver this year. Why the hell Kirk can't win? You know what I'm saying?
And he did 13 games. Jesus, are you kidding me?
In the wild card. Here's my point.
He can't make it past his offensive line will block from him. He can't make it. Holy shit, we won 13 games.
But then why?
Well, he need to go play for somebody else then.
Why continue to go down that same?
Josh Allen had fucking.
If you've seen that, Dave, if you've seen the same thing for 6 years, What makes you think? If you've seen the same thing for 5 years, what makes you think year 6
I didn't see the same thing
different?
for 5 years. I was a detractor 2018, 2019, and I seen him get better every year.
And we had the worst defense, right? We had the worst defense in one of those years, right? What was that, 2020?
I don't have a bad defense. You remember that quote? I've never had a bad defense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
we had bad defense. We had bad offensive line. You know, I mean, every year there's been a default of why we're not getting there with Kirk Cousins or why he can't win the game. You know what I'm saying?
Justin, what did you think of our offensive line coaches recently? Not this year, but recently.
I don't know where you're going with that.
He's got with the guy that passed away.
You thought they were bad, right?
I don't know. I'm not.
Okay, I guess you forgot you've said that before.
I've said.
But anyways.
Yeah, because I forget his name.
Ponder's better. Ponder was apparently is equal to Kirk Cousins, and he took us to the playoffs. So anybody can take us to the playoffs. Forget a almost record-setting year by an MVP running back in an awesome offensive line and a pretty decent defense.
Dave, you're missing the point.
We're erasing 13 games, man.
No, we're not, Dave. What I'm saying is that this Vikings
I had a freaking awesome year watching Viking football.
Me too.
What I'm saying, Dave, is that this team has gone to the playoffs in multiple forms. They went to the playoffs in 98 with the greatest offense at that time. They went to the NFC Championship game with an old, decrepit Hall of Fame quarterback that came to a good team that we thought was going to be the missing piece. Then in 2017,
we were paying over $30 million.
No, we weren't.
No, it was an uncapped year. So
we paid Brett Favre 16. He made $1 million a game, but that's again 16 back there, and it's closer to 30. So fine, whatever. My point is that. Yeah, I'm not saying that the team that Ponder got to the playoffs is better than this team. It's clearly not. And I'm not saying that Ponder's better than Cousins. He's clearly not. What I'm saying is that this Vikings team, this organization has gotten to the wild card and divisional round of the playoffs 18 different ways. And all I'm saying is that we've now been to the wild card and divisional round of the playoffs twice in the last 5 years with this iteration, whether the iteration was number one defense, used to be kind of came back a little bit with Kirk Cousins, and now this version with KOC. I'm done and bored with being stuck in the middle in one form or another. And my point is that I'm willing to give up what we have right now, which is a middle of the road up. They're probably about.
When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it?
I'm willing to do it now. I'm willing to do it next year.
Right now.
So. What do we do with Cousins then? If we're ready,
and you want to know what's crazy? You want to know what's crazy is what are we
doing them?
Please do not be depressed.
What do you do?
Don't be depressed, but don't be surprised if Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell move off and try to get some capital for the boy. I'm telling you.
And honestly, you didn't know me before I actually got on the YouTube, right? I did a podcast and I was doing the coach hire, and I was doing podcasts about, trading Kirk Cousins and what options are out there. And I got hate on Facebook for it. I am completely fine if whatever a coach decides to do. I'm going to be a Viking fan, and I'm like, but
me too.
Right. And I'm going to be a Viking fan when it happens. And I'll talk about realistic situations. Is Kirk Cousins traded? Is Kirk Cousins released? Both options, probably not very good ones for the Minnesota Vikings, in my opinion.
Short term, no.
Unless
good options.
So it's not this year, right? It's not happening this year.
I'm saying it like this,
right?
If they decide to keep Kirk Cousins,
can you admit that? That's what I'm asking. That it's not going to happen this year? Most likely
not. Probably not. I'm not saying.
So I'm asking you when you think it will happen, where you do this burn down and rebuild. Is it 2024? Is that I'm literally asking you your opinion on it, and
if
you're avoiding
asking
it.
Me what I would do, I would burn it right now. I would have burned it last year when they fired Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman. That's what I said. I know we hadn't started talking yet, and we hadn't started doing shows together yet, but you can ask Mike and Rick. I said right when they fired Zimmer and Spielman, I said when they bring in their new GM and their
that was last year. I already know that story. And I'm talking about this year.
I would do the same thing, because all you're doing is delaying the inevitable. You are delaying the inevitable. Chicago said, we're burning it down. We're not delaying the inevitable anymore. If we come back with Kirk Cousins and let's say we get rid of Harrison Smith and Kendricks and Thielen and Dalvin Cook, and we make some tertiary moves, we give JJ his extension, but by and large, the thing is the same, then we're just delaying the inevitable again. And we're going to stay in the middle. I'd rather be, I'm not saying I'd rather, okay, there's three kinds of teams. There's teams with 6 wins or fewer, 11 wins or more, and then there's those teams in the middle between 7 and 10 wins. And I'm saying that my first choice is to be 11 or more, which is what they were this year. My second choice is to be 6 or fewer, because being 7 and 10, yes, you can come up with 1 or 2 examples like the New York Giants, like the Green Bay Packers, that managed to be a 10-win team or a 9-win team and win a Super Bowl. That is so few and far between. But we have seen the Vikings be in the middle for decades. My entire lifetime, outside of 4 or 5 years, the Vikings have been in the middle, which is what I said earlier. They're very rarely great and they're very rarely trash. They are almost always in that middle. I am willing to give up the middle, and I'm okay with being a bad team for a year or two under the hopes that you can rebuild it to get back to being a great team that has a better shot of winning the Super Bowl. Right now, their shot of winning the Super Bowl is everything would have to go perfect. And everything almost went perfect this year, and we see what it got us. It was fun. It was awesome. And I'm glad that they didn't burn it down last year, because we would have missed out on this year. I will plainly say that if I had done it, I would have burned it down and I would have been wrong. I didn't think that they were capable of this, but let's call it for what it is. They got a lot of breaks. I don't think that's sustainable. I'm willing to give up the middle in order for the opportunity to possibly be great, because I'm sick of being in the middle. That's what my point is. That doesn't mean, and that has nothing to do with Kirk Cousins. Doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. I'm sick of being in the middle.
Something I brought up before, on our end of our vent line show we did the other night. Free agents, and I'm going to add in really good players and rookie contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come sign for bad teams with the state income tax. I don't see that ever happening. So one of the situations is like, what's best for this team with their situation? I think we're a destination franchise. Yeah, I don't think Justin Jefferson is going to force a trade. He seems like pretty good character guy. But we burn it down in 2024. He's now 25 years old with 1 year left on his in the last year of his contract. And we're talking, and he said it this year, hey, it doesn't matter to me. They don't have to extend me this year. I mean, it might take him, he might be telling the truth. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But is it worth him waiting? Because does he want to be stuck with a team with no future? He's willing to wait and bet on himself that his contract gets up. He can make bank. And he's only going to be 25. I don't see free agents coming to rookies resign, or good rookies resigning, and the teams that rebuilt and went after that number 1 quarterback traded their best players. They got rid of they traded their best players and establish high draft picks and went after that number 1 pick. Who's our best player?
Justin Jefferson.
On an affordable rookie contract.
At the moment,
the teams that are willing to rebuild trade their best players. The fact that you want to keep, I mean, I'm not singling you out. The fact that the option would be to rebuild, not trade our best assets and go after a quarterback, and without trading our best assets, because we're not going to be able to trade Kirk Cousins for a big time. We're two things will happen. If we did get a high draft pick, that means we're eating a lot of that contract. Now we still got Kirk Cousins' contract with a rookie quarterback. We'll really suck for 1 year because we got a rookie quarterback and $30 million eat 35 or whatever eating the contract.
It'd be 12,
and we may have gotten a decent draft pick out of the trade, but he's 35 now, right? So, I mean, the teams that rebuild traded their best players, and our best player is Justin Jefferson. So I'm just realistically, I want to keep Justin Jefferson. I don't think the best way to do it is burn down the team, man. I just don't see that happening.
Okay, I want
in 2024.
I want to address a point that James put up here, and then I'll get back to what you said. So you want to be Houston? No, I don't want to be Houston, James.
I think the chances are higher of being Houston than they are being us right now.
And what's the difference? What's the difference between us and Houston right now?
Pretty good quarterback that 5th in passing, and a Justin Jefferson.
Both Houston and Minnesota
awesome and set NFL records. A good running back.
Both Houston and Minnesota are sitting at home next week.
Good receiver.
We're both sitting at home next week.
You're comparing a team that won 3-4 wins to a team that won 13 and made the playoffs, man.
Yes, I'm comparing two teams that are not winning the Super Bowl this year.
There's a lot. Yeah, every team that lost this past week is the same as Houston. That's not a comparison. Well, come on.
Here's my point I'm addressing James' point here. I want you to think back to 2017 when the Vikings had Case Keenum and went to the NFC Championship game, and so did Jacksonville. Jacksonville was terrible up until this year. They now have Football Fabio.
They're a pretty good team, man.
They have why? Because they don't have a quarterback on a market value deal. They have a young quarterback who's exceeding his contract by his play on the field. I want you to think about where the Cincinnati Bengals were, and I want you to think about where the Buffalo Bills were. The Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals had old school head coaches in Rex Ryan and Marvin Lewis, and they held on to those coaches for far too long, just like the Vikings held on to Mike Zimmer for far too long. Those teams had Andy Dalton and who's the guy for the Jets? Emmanuel something. I forget what his name was. Bottom line is they had okay quarterbacks.
How come you're not bringing up Cleveland?
Cleveland too. Sure. I'm getting there. What did those two teams do? They said, all right, we're getting rid of our old school head coaches. We're getting rid of our okay, decent quarterbacks. Because at the time, Andy Dalton was a decent quarterback. And I forget who the guy had the Jets.
How many top draft picks?
DJ Manuel.
Y'all only do this when I get on the show.
No,
y'all was having a good conversation, and I show up now. Y'all want to argue.
I mean,
my point is here.
It's going to be like this all the time. Anytime Kirk Cousins is going to bring up, we're going to talk about burning the team down and how.
Let me finish my point.
I want you to bring up Cleveland.
I'm going to
in Texas.
Let me finish my point.
The number one quarterbacks.
My point is that those two teams made the choice to say, we've been stuck in the middle with an old school coach and a decent quarterback, and we got rid of them. And guess what? They got Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. That's what Buffalo and Cincinnati did. Conversely, there have been teams on the other side that have gone through coaches and have gone through quarterbacks and have gotten nowhere, like Detroit up until recently, like Cleveland up until that 1 year that they had with Baker Mayfield and Kevin Stefanski, like Jacksonville up until recently, like the Jets. Yes, there is a chance you could blow it up and you can end up like Houston and Jacksonville up until recently, Detroit, Cleveland, all the bad teams. There's also a chance you could end up in the situation that Buffalo and Cincinnati got into. There are no guarantees for either one of those two sides to be the absolute fact. Let
me ask you this.
Hold on.
Go ahead, real quick. Go ahead.
What you are guaranteed is that if you keep running it back with by and large the same players, you're going to be stuck in the middle. I am willing to risk being Houston for a year or two, hoping that that's all it is, for the reward that Cincinnati and Buffalo are now. That's my point.
Called a short-term investment, man. Short-term investment, man.
Now, I'm going to let you get back to
your agree with you.
Let me get some of these.
Blowing up your team is a short-term investment?
Yes.
But hold up, Dave. Let me ask you this, Dave. This is a serious question.
You guys forget about 2009.
Hold on, Dave. Let me ask you this. Dave, let me ask you this. How long do you think it's going to take to build up for our defense to be good for Kirk? Like where it's going to be like a top 10 defense? How many years do you think that's going to take?
I don't know. And for Buffalo turned their defense around pretty quick.
How long? How many years? Because this is going to answer the question right here. Because if you say it's going to take 3 years, then you're pretty much saying we should keep Kirk for 3-4 more years until we get to that point.
We hired a coach and he turned it around in about a year.
So your hopes are that our defense is going to bounce back, go from 31st to damn near top 10 next year.
I said I would take.
That's like taking the same shot as drafting a quarterback, bro. That's like taking the same exact.
Really?
For you to think that can happen?
You think that? You think,
because that's not going to happen.
You think of top like I was saying top 15. That's what the Rams were rated last year on defense. I mean the top 15. That's where the Bengals were last year, and they were actually started getting better. Hey, thanks to Evil Hope for throwing me some money.
Do you see the talent? Do you see the talent on our defense, man? I'm sorry, bro. Like, it ain't looking good. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it 100. Even shout out to Evil, man. Shout out to Evil for that.
What's up,
But I just don't see the defense. I don't see the Dave. Honestly, like, I just don't see the defense
Justin Jefferson signs long term getting rid of Kirk Cousins this year.
This is what I would do to answer your question.
Where he's trading Kirk
Justin Jefferson don't give no fuck, man.
Justin Jefferson, he's cutting Kirk Cousins or trading him this year. We draft a rookie quarterback at 23 because we only got 5 draft picks. I mean, I don't know what we.
Or you play the free agent, pool. You know what I mean, and get you somebody free. Or
he signs long term. You think that is signing Justin Jefferson long term? You think that? I just wonder.
I think that sounds just as logical as you thinking that the defense is going to jump from 31st to damn near top 12 next year out of nowhere, and then Kirk's going to be able to get over the hump because now all of a sudden the defense is good. I think it sounds just like that. Like the same chances of you thinking that's going to happen, you can hit the same chances of getting a Brock Purdy or getting somebody who can maybe just play football. You know what I mean? Kirk is not the only person who can throw a football, dog. That's all I'm saying. Like, these college quarterbacks are coming out a lot better now. The talent level is better.
This isn't just about Kirk, by the way. This is about the whole roster, so I don't want anybody
to say F Kirk. Kirk.
Stop it.
And I'm just tripping.
And Two Evil's tripping about bringing Zimmer back. Here's what I would do, Dave. In all seriousness, this is what I would do.
I'm with Two Evil.
This is what I would do, Dave. I would go into Justin Jefferson and I'd say, all right, we can renegotiate your contract here. What do you want? You tell me what you want.
$40 million.
Okay, cool. Now, being that I'm going to give you $40 million, which is basically quarterback
money. Am I not realistic in that?
No, you're absolutely.
No, that's not about right.
35 at least. 35 at least, yes. So
he's going to set the market. He's going to set the market.
Justin, here's what I say to Justin Jefferson.
Now we're giving $40 million to a guy that gets the ball 8 to 11 times a game. Got it.
And Kirk gonna be mad. He gonna be like, "That's not fair. I need 45."
This is my point now. If I can,
he took less than market this past year.
Here's
he better have. He played less than market.
Gentlemen,
he played less than market. Okay, got it. Top 5.
You're not funny. You're not even funny. What I'm saying is, I go to Justin Jefferson. I say, "How much money do you want?" Okay, guess what? I'm giving you quarterback money. So I need you to tell me what direction you want me to go. Do you want me to go in the direction of where we keep Kirk Cousins, who has helped you be the best wide receiver statistically for the first 3 years of your career, knowing that we have all of these other holes on this roster and that you'd be taking up this much money and Kirk would be taking up that much money, and how we could build the team up around you guys? Or do you want us to go in a completely different direction where you are the focal point of this team? And I would say to Justin Jefferson, what do you want to do? Do you want us to re-sign Kirk Cousins for 3 more years until he's ready to retire and roll the dice that between the two of you, we can put whatever else around you? Or do you
totally worked for the Lakers this past year?
I don't care about the Lakers. What I care about is you ask me what I would do.
I hope tomorrow my boss comes up to me and
says, "I'm glad we ain't GMs, boy."
I hope my boss comes to me tomorrow and says, "David, how much money do you want, and who should we get rid of?" I would be fucking. I got a list.
Yes,
actually not with this new job. I love my new job, and I keep everybody.
Point isn't that means you're going to do exactly what he says. My point is that then you're going to gauge where he is at, and you could say what I would say to Justin is this: do you think we can win a Super Bowl with you making your market value with Kirk Cousins? Or do you think that we should trade him, get some assets, and rebuild for a couple of years so that we could try to build a team that could actually win one? And he would give you his opinion. That doesn't mean you follow his words to the letter. That means now you've gotten his input and you've gotten his opinion. It's as simple as that. But no, I'm not just going to re-sign Kirk Cousins for 3 more years and re-sign Justin Jefferson, because then you can't rebuild this defense.
You're talking about something that's not ever happened yet. I mean,
my point is that if you just run it back with Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, who are the two
next year,
either way, next year or beyond,
just keep on keeping on, man. Just keep on trying. It'll work.
You're not going to be able to.
Because we never got close doing this. We never got.
We haven't.
98, 2009, 2017.
Yes,
never
once a
never
decade.
got close.
Yes, once a decade.
and you want to go the route.
Look what Culpepper did. Culpepper ain't half. You said Culpepper ain't half the quarterback is Kirk, right?
I want to go the route that Cincinnati and Buffalo went because that's the same route.
To win the lottery. Basically.
What difference does it make, Dave? Either you win the lottery or you don't.
Or be Cleveland. That's what I'm saying.
You got to play to win.
I'm willing.
And we have. I'm willing. You're exactly choosing the opposite. Lose for 3.
Cleveland been to the same amount of playoff games as us in the past 3 years. So what are you mad about? I'm just saying, Cleveland been to the same amount of playoff games as us.
Why are you picking the 3 to 4? Why are you picking the last 3 years? Tell me what they've done.
Well, how about this? Since Kirk's been our quarterback,
the only way to
do
the
playoffs just as much
is to win the lottery in the draft and pick the right quarterback, and hope we can put a team around him.
I'm saying is, how long do you think Kirk's going to be able to play?
We're hoping that.
How long do you think Kirk gonna be able to play?
You don't think changing
y'all think he's gonna be Tom Brady, man? Kirk is not Tom Brady, man. This man like 36, man. Time to hang it up.
We just did that.
Yeah,
Kirk ain't win a damn championship. Kirk ain't win a championship game since Pee Wee football, man. Hang it up.
There's not the only thing I said good about Donatel is that he was, well liked. And that he would be a calming influence to Kevin O'Connell. I was not thinking Ed Donatel as defense.
Kirk ain't never win a bowl game in college. He ain't never win a Pee Wee trophy.
He won the Big
Kirk
Ten
ain't never win a damn trophy in his life.
He won the Big Ten championship and won a bowl game.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
My point is this.
We had this conversation. You just forget about it.
You're talking about, you just got done saying you're playing the lottery. And you're saying that the chances of the lottery hitting are
Don't explain Kirk.
Isn't that what we've been doing?
That's what I'm talking about.
Isn't that what we've been doing?
We've been trying to win the lottery with burning the team up and drafting a.
Hey, Dave, when you trying to start this Hate 8 show, man?
We'll talk offline.
I gotta go, man. I'm gonna be tapped in my phone on 3%, man. Hey, y'all have fun, man. Keep it going. I want to listen
tonight. We're not doing a show tonight.
Nah.
Right.
Nah.
That's how I find out.
That's how you find out. Right.
We'll stay on longer then. I
was about to go in about 5 minutes, but all right, fine, fair enough. See you, Rap. All I'm saying, Dave, is this. We've been doing this strategy for decades, and every 8 to 10 years, we have a pop-up season. Okay? Every 8 to 10 years, we have a pop-up season doing it this way. I don't want to be Houston. I don't want to be what Detroit has been. I don't want to be what Cleveland has been. I am willing to risk becoming.
There's a longer list.
Yes, there's a longer list. And that longer list has just as many Super Bowl appearances as we do. None. It's not about being a good team that can get to the divisional round of the playoffs. Huh?
Jets have a Super Bowl.
They do not in the last 40 years. Come on, Dave. You know what I'm trying to say. In our lifetimes,
only 6 teams, I think, that didn't have a Super Bowl, right?
My point, Dave, Cleveland does not have a Super Bowl in the last.
You're talking about what the wishes and dreams of what you want to happen.
Isn't that?
I am talking about what is. There's no businessman in his life that says, "I'm going to take my guy that had his best year of his career." Personally, I would say that.
Sure, I would agree.
Halfway through the season, you're saying he was having a worse. I'd take this Kirk Cousins, even though he's having a bad year before.
I didn't say bad year, Dave. Don't put words in my mouth.
Sorry, a down year.
No,
that's not that was a word. Oh, what's the words you were saying?
What I said was, I will take this version of Kirk Cousins, who is more clutch and has a down year statistically, who has less stats than the guys the version of Kirk Cousins we have.
So it turns out he, relative to the rest of the league, he had a up year in and I consider it the best year of his career.
At the time that was made in week number 7, his stats were down, and what I said was,
and you hadn't changed it. You hadn't come out and changed it. So I'm just going with what the last thing you've said about that situation.
I'll say it again for the 3rd time, and I said it 3 times this weekend. This was his best season.
Okay, best season starting at apparently this weekend. So he has a statistically, he's had relatively the rest of the year the best season. I would say he outperformed Josh Allen in the playoff because how many turnovers he had, and he almost lost to Miami with their, situation they had going on. But Kirk Cousins is going to get more hate than that because they won. And it's the result. It's maybe warranted, right? But your thought is after this season, 2 of the last 3 years making the Pro Bowl, that we are going to either trade him or cut him. And if we don't trade him, we're going to cut him.
We're not cutting him.
Jesus, I said that 3 times. You're saying that's yes to that. So we're trading him.
Okay.
For what? In a 1 year, he has 1 year left on his contract, no future contract, nothing. We don't want to extend him. We want to trade him. And we're going to basically going to have to eat his contract to get any value. I don't get it, man. We're making business decisions here, and you're saying, let's go to our guy that gets the ball 11 times a game and give us his opinion and show him that we're willing to do what he wants. I mean, first of all, I don't think Justin Jefferson's wired like that, where he's going to be prima donna and say, hey, talk to me like certain NBA players are like. I don't see him doing that. So I don't see Kwesi doing that. I see Kwesi reassuring people, hey, we're moving in a positive direction. We're going to build off this year. I guarantee all 53, and then the guys in the IR would be happy to hear is maybe not the IR. They probably want a worse team so they can try to make it. But hey, we're going to build on this year. There's not a guy in that locker room that's not wanting to build off of this year. But us as fans are saying, you know what, I could take some losing for a few times. No, they are not thinking like that. Justin Jefferson is not thinking like that. He's not wanting to risk 2 or 3 years of his career on a losing team. What does he say? I just want to win. I just want to win. And he's not to go up to him and say, hey, we're gonna try to trade Kirk Cousins this year. We're gonna take a chance in the draft and move up and get a guy. There is a chance we might have to rebuild for 2 or 3 years. On board? It's not a good picture. I mean, Kwesi going, I would much rather, as a player, Justin Jefferson say, hey, we really did good. You damn near broke 2,000 yards. I want to see you do that next year. This is what we're going to do. We're going to build off of this year, and this is how we're going to add to this team. That is a much better picture for free agents. That's a much better picture for guys on their rookie deals. It's just a better picture and a more positive outlook. The fact that I loved when we got drafted Teddy Bridgewater. I thought, great. I got a guy I can root for. He's a good guy. He's a rookie. I want to see him do good. I thought the same thing about Ponder, even though I didn't think he had talent. I'm like, why did we draft this guy? I'm like, okay. He moves around a lot. I like him, all right, give him a chance. But, even Tavares Jackson, I was like, he made a few plays there. I'm like, I'm just really hoping for this rookie to stand out and do Culpepper, man. Holy shit. Fell in love with him. Bought every color jersey fucking come out with. I mean, I loved it. But then I'm like, out of all those quarterbacks I just mentioned, Culpepper gave us a couple good years, right?
Right.
A couple good years, not 5 like he played, but 2 probably good. 1 great, 1 pretty good, maybe a decent, and then the other 2 are won 3 games or 4 games, so 5 games, whatever.
6, but yeah.
6, whatever. It was awful watching that football, but I'm looking at the player aspect of it, man. They don't want it to happen.
Here's the player aspect of it. You say, Justin, hey, we can keep going the direction we're going. We've seen what that has gotten us, or we can look at going in a different direction. What do you think? I'm not telling you get to choose. I'm asking you what you think. Do you think that we can win a championship going the route that we've been going? Or do you think we should maybe consider pivoting into a different direction? That's all. It doesn't have to be any more than that. But getting back to what I was saying a minute ago, to your point about building, you can only build so much on top of a good to slightly above mediocre team when you have the cap issues that you have with all of these old players and bloated contracts. When I say take a step back, okay, yes, I said burn the whole thing. I was being somewhat facetious, but taking a step back means that, yes, you might be bad for a year or two. Not intentionally, not just whatever, but yes.
Quick point. But also sign Justin Jefferson long term. That's what you're saying?
That would be my initial objective, yes.
Your hope.
Yes, hope.
Okay, go ahead.
So what I'm saying is we have spun our wheels for decades doing it this way, which is we're never going to we're never going to intentionally take a step back. We're always going to try to be good. Trying to be good, in theory, is a good starting point, because in order to be great, at some point you have to be good. But sometimes in order to be great, you have to be bad before you can be good, before you can be great. Sometimes you have to hit a reset or a reboot button. Unless you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, which Kirk Cousins is not. He's a very good quarterback, but he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. Let's just say that. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. But yeah, if you told me right now I could trade Kirk Cousins.
Is Eli Manning a Hall of Fame quarterback?
I say no. He's going to get in, but I say no.
All right, so you can win with an Eli Manning, right?
Yeah, you can win with a Trent Dilfer too.
Yeah, big contracts. Next? Yeah, got it. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, Eli was on his rookie contract when he won a Super Bowl, but anyway, I digress.
1-2.
Yeah, his first one was on a rookie contract. Anyway.
He won the second one.
Yes. And then the team fell apart after that. Why? Because that window was shut. And my point is...
it's shut now, right, for us.
All right, do you think this
Going into this season, I'm guaranteed quoted as saying I think next year's our peak year.
Yes, I recall you saying that, and I disagreed with it. And you're not the only one who said that.
You also picked us to win what at one point, like I don't know, it was 9 or less. I know that, right?
I said 10 or less. Yeah,
it was 10. Okay, 10 or less. 10 was your peak, right? I
was 10 was
13,
my peak. Yes,
12 was my guess. 10 was my floor.
And how many things went right for that 13 to happen?
And I said one of the recent shows, I think we're more of an 11-win team than we are a 13-win
I agree.
team.
Which is okay. So me saying 10 and you saying 11 is pretty pretty close.
That was your ceiling. That 11 is not my ceiling.
Okay, fair enough. All I'm saying is that the ceiling for this team, regardless of regular season wins, whether it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or 13, the ceiling for this team is the divisional round of the playoffs.
This team is, you've heard the expression by players, every team is different. Like, this isn't the same team as last year.
Rhino, are you in my head? Every time I say something, 10 seconds, 2 seconds later, you got it up in the chat. That's funny. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. You were saying, I'm sorry.
You've heard players in the locker room saying this is a different team than last year. Like, this isn't the same team. And baseball, it's said all the time too. I mean, we won the division for how many years in a row in baseball, and the next year we barely win 70. And back in the same thing with football. And this isn't the same team. And the Rams would tell you that, right? Everybody thought Rams were going to be good again, right? I didn't think they would be. No, you didn't think they were going to be good.
No, when they traded for Stafford, I said, this is their last-ditch effort because they traded away all those first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey, and they've been trading first-round picks, this, and this. When they traded for Matt Stafford going into the season
last year, you predicted this.
I said the Rams better win their Super Bowl this year because they have one shot.
And then next year, they're going to win 4 games.
I didn't say 4 games, but I said they're not winning the Super Bowl past this year. I said they have – and I said I applaud them for going for it because they knew, okay, I got Aaron Donald here, I got Jalen Ramsey here, I got a couple other pieces here and there, and this is our last shot. Their window was 2018 to 2022, and they realized that Jared Goff wasn't going to be it, and so they made the switch. But yes, I said last year when they made that trade, I said they better win it this year because they're not doing anything else after this year. I've been wrong as many times as I've been right, so I'll fully admit that I got lucky to be right that one.
I don't want to be so severe in my opinion.
Why not?
That I'm going to turn off half my audience. All right? I openly admit that I was a detractor of Cousins and flipped, and now I'm a big supporter of Cousins. I literally can go back to text messages saying to my friends, oh my God, they're gonna run him out of town after this game. And that was 2020, like first 2-3 games of the season. But then I saw something change, and we had comeback wins. We had, and I think 3 of them the rest of that season. So I was like, okay. But in the off season, I'm talking about if we trade him, this is what I would like to see. This is what I would like to see. I wasn't going, we fucking trade him. I'm not a fan anymore. I'm not saying you're like that. I'm just saying I'm not like that. Or I'm realistic. They were looking to trade him, I think.
No,
they were
looking,
not I don't think they were aggressively looking, but they wanted to see what they could get.
They were open to it.
Yeah. I don't even think that. I think because nothing tells me that KOC wanted to get rid of Kirk Cousins. Nothing tells me that. I mean, he shows him his autographed Kirk Cousins jersey in an interview. If you're wanting to get rid of Kirk Cousins, you're not admitting to the fact that you're a fanboy of him and you have it in your living room. So, but like a good businessman, they were listening to opportunities. And if one came, I'm like, oh my God, if they give us a first, a second, third next year, whatever, that'd be awesome. I'll fucking take that. I'll take that. Right. No problem with that. I mean, like, we're going a different direction. Probably a good time now because we'll have 3 years with Justin Jefferson, hopefully turn it around. No, now we only got 2 years with Jefferson, and we're coming off a Pro Bowl year, 4,500 yards, 11, one score victories, 8 comeback victories, overcame probably the worst onslaught of hits in a NFL. And yes, I know he stands in the pocket, but he takes it and he delivers the ball well enough to still maintain his 65 or better percentage. And then things that people talk about how, he's captain check down. In my stats, which I didn't produce to anybody, he was 4th and like 5th the last 2 years in balls sailing or caught 20 or yards more or farther. Not catch and run 20 yards, but 20 yards past that. So he's got stats like it. This year, he was actually lower, 12th. And that's why I was talking about we're more conservative this year. All right. But he can pick a stat and say, hey, he's awesome. He can pick a stat, oh, here he's terrible. And he can just, 2 different opinions can cherry pick that. But I'm not going to be so severe to say, hey, we're going to win a Super Bowl. We have a good a chance as anybody winning a Super Bowl next year. I'm like, why not? Why can't I say that? It's not too severe. We could be a top 6 team next year, be a 3rd seed like we kind of were this year, but get rid of the defensive coordinator, put some new blood in there. And yes, you can turn around a defense in 1 year to make it to where it's 15th or 17th. Why? Because I saw Zimmer do it. We had one of the worst defenses in the league, and Zimmer made us respectable, and he lost Adrian Peterson in week 2. I mean, and that defense played well enough to allow us to win 7 games. I mean, all right, you can turn a defense around in a short period of time with a new coach and some different players. Guarantee it. I think that has happened more times than trading up and getting a quarterback in the top 10 and having him beat Josh Allen, who had a step back this year. I mean, he was still great, but he wasn't as good as he was last year. He was struggling a lot of the year. He lost a few games and he didn't look good doing it. And he didn't necessarily have a great game last game. So, I mean, and one of the things that happened, Rams lost KOC, the Buffalo still got a shot at the Super Bowl, but do you think they're going to beat KC? Probably not. But, Dayball left them and went to the Giants and made a mediocre quarterback look fucking awesome against us twice. And I like him. I think he's going to get paid. And I think I would take Daniel Jones over Garoppolo right now. Guarantee it. I'd take him in a heartbeat over Garoppolo. And Garoppolo has had more success than him. I don't know. I'm just not going to be so severe to say, window's over, guys. Let's rebuild after a 13-win season when we could literally bring the whole offense back that was ranked 7th.
Okay.
It should have been 5, I think, or better.
To address a couple of points you made when you're talking about Zimmer turning it around in 2014, you didn't have a good to very good quarterback at market value on the books at that time. You had Ponder, Castle, and Freeman, and nothing else. You didn't have a quarterback taking that. You didn't have a whole bunch of veteran players on offense and defense. You didn't have a running back making a second contract. You didn't have a Harrison Smith making the money he makes now, or Adam Thielen, or Eric Kendricks. That was Anthony Barr's rookie year, so clearly he was on a rookie scale contract. So part of the reason and part of what you need to factor in.
I'm sorry, Peterson wasn't on a second contract?
Okay, Peterson was. Again, it wasn't at the same level. Okay, fine. Peterson was. Fine.
All right, just ask him because
all right, good point. Good point. My point was
7 years into his career.
Go ahead. But the entire roster had roster flexibility because we didn't have a whole lot of players making bucket loads of money like we do right now. So part of where I see where you're going, but at the same time, I don't entirely.
You brought in a lot of free agents, or we? What was the?
We brought in Linval Joseph. We
brought in Linval Joseph.
Yeah, we had Xavier Rhodes, who was drafted
that year.
Again, another part of it. Well, we haven't done for the last 5 years.
We just found Duke Shelley.
Yeah, but he's a free agent after this year, so you're going to have to give him more than you're going to have to give him a second contract. Now, I'm not saying that Duke Shelley's going to break the bank, but he's not going to be making rookie money now.
We didn't have a T.J. Hawkinson.
No, we had a Kyle Rudolph. Obviously, T.J. Hawkinson's better than Kyle Rudolph even in 2014 was. But he wasn't making, and that's my point. T.J. Hawkinson's going to be making more money than Kyle Rudolph was because Kyle Rudolph was still on his rookie contract. So all I'm saying is that some of that turnaround was because of Mike Zimmer's coaching and his scheme, and some of it was that they brought in some players, and some of it was that the players that they have were not making a bucket load of money. There is very little salary cap flexibility on this team right now. So some of the factors.
And we're not going to change that? You don't think that it's going to be Black Sunday or whatever it's going to be when we start cutting? I mean, Harrison Smith, man, we free up 14, 13, I don't know how many million dollars.
Okay, so if you're going to get rid of Harrison Smith, and I think we both agreed to get rid of Eric Kendricks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was a big supporter of him coming in this year.
Okay, so we get rid of Smith and we get rid of Kendricks. Okay, and so now we're going to rebuild the defense knowing that those two guys are gone on top of the rest of the holes we have.
Yeah, I think Samoa would be an upgrade.
I agree, but we're shuffling deck chairs. We're taking these guys out and we're putting these guys in and then hoping upon hope that we can get something put together. My overarching point isn't about these micro moves. I'm talking about the macro. I'm talking about in a general sense. You're right. What the Chicago Bears have right now. Yeah, right now. If you told me right now, in 2 years, who's going to be further along, the Bears or the Vikings? It's not a guarantee that the Bears are going to be ahead of the Vikings. It's not a guarantee. But when you figure that even let's say they bring everybody back for the most part and make a couple of changes here and there, you restructure some deals, you cut some players, but by and large, you come back with the same team. You bring in a defensive coordinator that's not named Ed Donatel, and you hope that everything can go as best as it can.
I'm just wondering, we had a show right after the playoff loss, right? And we literally crossed six or so defensive players off.
Right.
But you're talking about just two.
Well, what I'm saying is that if you bring this team back in its current form or a close version to its current form, what do you see the potential?
You don't think it's like, you don't even think it's possible.
I'm saying that the overwhelming possibility that if we bring back this same team is that it's most likely, not a guarantee, it's most likely going to have the same type of ceiling that this year's team did. It is highly unlikely that if we do by and large the same thing again, that this team suddenly is going to move from a team that had a ceiling of the divisional round of the playoffs to a team that has a ceiling of the NFC Championship game, much less a team that has a ceiling of the Super Bowl. It's most likely it will either be the wild card or it will be less than that. That's my point. And my point is that I don't want to just continue to do the same thing when I know my ceiling isn't going to move beyond the divisional round of the playoffs. Excuse me. That's the crux of our discussion when it's all said and done, is I'm willing to move back, hoping that after we recover in a year or two's time, that we'd be able to then restructure the roster and reconstitute the roster in a way that now has a higher ceiling than what we have right now. And what I'm saying is doing the same thing by and large over and over again is going to keep our ceiling at wild card or division round of the playoffs. That's the simplest way of recapping and rehashing what
would you have changed this year? If you could redraw things, what would you have done this year to make us go farther?
Go farther? Nothing.
Yeah.
This team went as far as it could. If this team,
you couldn't make any changes to this team, like hire a new different coach than what we did, or play Asamoah earlier in the year.
Okay, all right, fine. You could have played Asamoah earlier in the year. You could have had KOC go into Ed Donatel midway through the season.
Get rid of the tight end screen. Get rid of the tight. Okay, things you couldn't have did to get us farther in this game. Dude,
let's say it like this.
You cannot look at the Cincinnati Bengals last year and say, hey, if we were just a little better on defense, I'm just 50. I don't know, man. 5 spots, 10 spots. You don't think we could have made this team, even the team, if we did nothing? You don't think a coach could have came in and make this the 20th ranked defense instead of the 31st? You don't think that was possible?
Highly unlikely, I suppose.
Highly unlikely, really?
Yes.
You don't think coaching?
Of course it does, but there's only so much coaching.
Like I talked about, you got Eric Kendricks guarding 2 people doing a crossing route.
Okay.
There was nothing. It's
so
terrible.
Then what would have been different is that you would have got rid of Kendricks at the beginning.
No, you wouldn't have a coach putting that kind of pressure on him. Maybe changing to the 3-4 and not doing that could have changed things. I don't know. We talked about Daniil Hunter playing outside linebacker and how we hated it. There's so many things that could have been changed to make this a potentially a better situation. I know it's, I just cannot go on for 6 months talking about how this team is not going to do anything before we even do anything. I will, if after we go through free agency and the draft, and I think the team's still shit, I will admit it's still shit. But to say, no, this team can't do any better before we even try, I can't agree with you on
for
that.
Years though, Dave. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
by and large, the Wilfs have done the same thing.
Do you need a little bit of luck or to win to go farther? I said this is probably 11-win team. Yeah. I think it's 11-win team. Because our defense played good at time and
right?
Yeah, we overachieved, and if we had a better defensive coach and we made some better choices on defense, or if Zadarius Smith didn't bang his knee, if we weren't playing frickin' Daniil Hunter out of position the whole time, if we could figure out our other cornerback, thank God we picked up on Duke Shelley to make it at least comparable. If Harrison Smith didn't get hurt for a couple of games, I mean, there's plenty of things that could have changed to make this defense a little bit better. Number one being we picked the wrong coach. And there's not a single person that I've met, except for like 2 guys on this baseball writer, sports writer that I retweeted, who says Donatel wasn't the problem, it was the players. Sure, there's a little bit to the players. There's some older ones.
Both, yeah.
And here's what I said though. I tweeted out there. Thanks to Evil. I hope you're my biggest supporter, honestly. So there. I mean, what I'd say. And I said to that baseball writer, I said, yeah, Pro Bowlers at every level, and he just had nothing to work with. Oh, and then one guy says, in 2016, and I'm like, Harrison Smith was in the Pro Bowl last year. Peterson should have been in this year. If you want to go by PFF grade, and he still could be. If someone bows out, Peterson could be up right next as the next guy in that Pro Bowl. Kendricks, although it wasn't 2016, it was 2018. I mean, I would say Dalvin Tomlinson had actually a pretty damn good year. There were players at every level, and give me Daniil Hunter. He is a pro. He could, if he wasn't playing out of position, he would have been dominating that game. Every game, he would be a Pro Bowler, and he was in 2018 and 19, back to back. And then you go look at Zadarius Smith, Pro Bowler multiple times. We had Pro Bowlers of multiple levels, and you can say, "Oh, they were fucking dead and buried. They're so old." 30? I mean, 30? And the oldest guy was, 33, but he made the Pro Bowl last year. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna say we had nothing to work with. This team couldn't have did any better, and we're closed. Our window is closed. I said our window is next year before the season started, and I was pleasantly surprised that we were going to go as far as we did. Only reason I said 12-5 is because of our schedule. I probably would have predicted less if we didn't have 9 home games and only 7 road games with 1 on a neutral site. I probably would have went lower, but I went 12-5. Yes, we're probably less than that as a team, and it had all to do with our defensive coordinator, and possibly some bad decisions on, one, maybe changing defenses, maybe keeping a couple of players when we should have gave a younger guy a chance.
So let's say all of those things happen. What's different about this team? If all of those things happen,
we'd have better defense.
What would our record be?
I don't know. Cincy was 10-7 last year. Their defense improved a little bit. There was a top 20 defense.
Mm-hmm.
They improved a little bit, got hot late, went to the Super Bowl. All possible. Look at the teams they would have had to go through to win.
Yeah, my point was the point I was getting at is
were they the best team in the AFC?
No, they got hot. Just like the Packers weren't the best team in the NFL the year they won.
And do you think there was I think there was one play that they got screwed on, and they should have probably won the Super Bowl?
Maybe
10-7 team. Packers.
Yeah, 10-6.
They're 1 inch away from not making the playoffs. And make the playoffs. They have 19 players on the DL.
They had an outstanding
Super Bowl.
defense, though. By the way, but
19 players on the DL that year,
exactly.
And they could have missed the playoffs if our toe was an inch closer inside the line, and they went to the Super Bowl and won it. I mean,
but that doesn't change anything. My point was that if all of those different changes that you just made a moment ago had happened, they still would have probably been 13-4. They just wouldn't have been in as many close games, and they would have been in the same spot that they were more than likely. Because they already have won so many games on the margins that, yes, if you improve those things as you discussed.
Yeah, sure, 13-4, but now we're a better team and we may go deeper in the playoffs.
So then we beat the Giants instead of losing to the Giants. Even with all of those changes, you think we would have gone to San Francisco next week and won?
And then we would have gone to San Francisco. Are you saying would we have gone and won?
Yeah, I'm asking. Let's say we have.
Most likely we would not win.
Which means that our ceiling is still the wild card.
But is it impossible? Would it be impossible?
Not impossible.
Damn, Seahawks were winning at halftime.
And then they got slaughtered. Winning
at halftime.
What I'm saying is that if you just make cursory changes and your expectation.
You're talking about cursory changes. We were talking about getting rid of 6 players and a new coach. There's nothing.
So you think all of those
I gotta look up the word cursory
that happened this year is going to happen again?
It's a new team, and no, it's not going to happen the same way.
Right.
Do I think we're going to be a better team next year? Yes, because there's nowhere to go but up on that defense. Nowhere to go but up. So yes, take this team, this young team, offensive team. Yeah, sure, Dalvin Cook is older. If we get rid of him, I'm high on the guys we got to replace him. And if Thielen's gone, I am high on the guys that we got to replace him. And we got the draft. So, and free agency. And all sorts of things.
Else, but, yeah.
I mean, if you think we're going to have the same if you're just assuming we're running it back, right? You're like, we're not getting rid of him. Compared to 2 days ago, we're not getting rid of anybody. We're not changing the defense at all.
No, I'm not saying that they're not changing it at all. When I say run it back, I mean running it back in the context of, by and large, everything is the same. Slight differences here and there. That's what we've been doing for the last 5 years. We ran it back in 2018, but for bringing in Kirk Cousins. And then in 2019, we ran it back. And then we traded Diggs for Jefferson. And then we ran it back, and we went 7-9, where the only thing we did was sign Yannick Ngakoue, and then finding out, oh, this isn't worth it. We're going to trade him to try to get some of the capital we lost back. Then we ran it back again, saying, well, it was a COVID year, and this, and this, even though everybody else had to deal with COVID too. We ran it back again and went 8-9, and we finally fired Mike Zimmer. We ran it back this year, and everything went right. The culture was changed. This team is in a far better spot than it was this time a year ago. Absolutely. All I'm saying is that in the last 5 – no, I'm not – okay. Again,
I mean, you're talking about how we just – new culture, not good enough. Let's burn it down.
What I'm saying is that if you're asking me to run it back for the 6th year in a row, hoping that –
we're getting rid of half the defense or more and the coach. That's our thought. That's the thought we got going on, right?
But I don't know that that's what they're going to do.
They're going to have to do something because we're 20 over the cap. And we could do that by getting rid of 2 players.
I'm saying that if the option A is to do what you just said, which is to keep the core intact, get rid of some of the older players, and try to take and build on this year.
We have the second 5 option, or 6 players left from 2017. Did we run it back? We have about 6 to 7 or 8 from 2018. Did we run it back? I mean, that was 5 years ago. We have like 6 to 8 players still left on this team. Danielle Hunter,
Cook,
Dalvin Cook was hurt that year. He didn't really start until he only played 3 games in 2017.
Right.
Kendricks, he's young, 25 years old, probably 24 years old. Harrison Smith. I mean, who else?
Well, you have to figure.
Who else was on that team?
Well, you traded.
O'Neal was a rookie in 2018, I guess, maybe. So 2018, we had him.
Yeah.
So running it back means bringing all the same players back. We have
running it back
we've had a 90% turnover in the last 5 years.
And what's it gotten us?
90%. You're saying we've running it back every year. We've had a 90% turnover in 5 years.
Well, okay, running it back means trying to stay competitive and not taking a step back to try to rebuild or reload. That's what running it back means, not necessarily the exact same players.
Like firing your coach and hiring all new staff?
Yeah.
Including your Sugarman, get rid of him?
Yeah.
That's running it back?
Yes. Okay.
Getting rid of your coach is running it back? I don't know, man.
Is this not pretty much the same team?
It's competitive rebuild
last year?
Didn't you hear?
Yeah, and that's crap, by the way. That's their, hey, we're going to try to keep going for it, but if it fails, well, we said competitive. That was them giving them.
Did you like what did Rams got a Super Bowl? Are you happy? Would you as a
yes, you don't have to
happy
with
that,
questions. Right? You don't have to finish the question. Yes.
All right. If
the Vikings won the Super Bowl this year and we were the Green Bay Packers and we're garbage for 30 years, I'd take it.
Right.
In a heartbeat.
You wouldn't want one more chance next year.
Of course I would want one more, but what I'm saying
let's do it.
But we didn't win it this year. That's the point.
You didn't think we were good enough this year to start the year. Now we're 1 year away.
We weren't.
We're 1 year away, man.
We have been 1 year away for decades. We were
1 year away in 2020, 1 year away in 2021.
We were 1 year away in 2018 because we just came off the NFC Championship. We were 1 win away in 2010. We were 1 year away.
Everybody's going to completely forget that Dalvin Cook was coming off an ACL tear.
Yeah.
And we were the second worst rushing team in the league. And our offensive line coach, who turned our shit offensive line into a 17th ranked offensive line according to PFF, and died the next year. And our offensive line was probably the worst in my lifetime in 2018. And we were 1 game away from making the playoffs. Our defense was still good. It did take a step back, but it was still good. I don't even think Harrison Smith made the Pro Bowl that year. I mean, players, if you see the players I look PFF grades, all our top players all had down years in 2000. It tailed down in 2018. Did we? And they popped, and they actually had pretty decent year in 2019, and we made the playoffs. I mean, to compare everything to go, hey, 2017, man, that was the year. I mean, we lost Dalvin Cook. Maybe if we had him, we had a little more confidence going to the Eagles. I don't know.
Now, if we hadn't lost, then we might not have even been going to Philly. If we had Sam Bradford instead of Case Keenum, who knows? I mean, you can play that game till you're blue in the face.
Yeah, I mean,
my overarching point, Dave, is that this organization, particularly with this ownership group, and it's, Rhinos back me up.
I'm just asking, did you have the same opinion in 2018 that hey, we should rebuild? Like tear it down, rebuild? Did you have the same opinion?
After 2017, when they signed Kirk Cousins and they signed him to that massively fully guaranteed contract, which at the time set the market and all this other stuff.
28 million a year. Yeah.
84 million over 3 years. I said, okay, I'm not convinced that this guy is worth that much money, but I am sold on that he's enough of an upgrade over Case Keenum that might be enough to push us over the hump. And what really sold me on it was that it was a 3-year deal. And part of what Paul Charchian, Paul Allen, and Rick Spielman and the Will said, okay, if this doesn't work after, 2 or 3 years, we're not committed to 7 years at, 170 million to this guy. And after 2019, I said exactly what I'm saying right now. This window's done. After they lost to San Francisco, that was Diggs' last game. And up until
so your thought process of us being Vikings and we do the same thing every year and we never change, and you only started believing this in 2019?
No, I'm giving you I'm giving you the recent example. After they lost to San Francisco in the divisional round of the playoffs post 2019 season, I said the same thing I'm saying right now. We should trade Kirk Cousins and see what kind of value we can get. We should, instead of just bringing him back and extending him for 2 more years and doing the same things over and over again, which got us nothing but 7-9 and then 8-9. That's what I said then, was this window's closed. And clearly that 2019 window was closed. I think even you would concur after 7-9 and 8-9 that the 2019 window was closed. I'm saying right now, I believe it to be the same type of deal. We have tapped out as high as we can get. And even if we had won on Sunday and then we're having this conversation next Tuesday after getting destroyed by San Francisco yet again, I'd be saying the same thing. It was fun. It was awesome. We don't ever have to give it back. But I don't think that this team has got any more growing to do in its current state. Now, when I say running it back, what I mean is that instead of trading off key pieces and getting some assets and clearing the decks of bad salary cap contracts that we're just going to renegotiate and add void years we added void years to Danielle Hunter. We added void years to Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins. We extended Dalvin Cook a couple years ago. I mean, we can go through the list. That's what I mean by running it back, is taking your existing group and either extending them or renegotiating and never clearing the deck. The Bears cleared the deck. That's why they got $100 million. Traded Khalil.
Yeah, and they're never going to win that North back once they get it.
Say what?
When are they going to get it? They're never going to win that North, or never going to give that North back once they get it, right?
What are you talking about? I don't understand. I don't get where you're going.
They're the last team in the division, right?
Yeah, and this year
they're never, and like their GM said, they're going to win the North and never give it back. When is that year going to happen?
Who knows?
Tell me, when do you think that's going to happen?
I will say this: after next season. So after
next season,
after 2023. So from 2024 on, I'm going to say, not counting the 2023 season, starting with 2024, I'm not going to bet my life on it, but I would say that there's a better chance that the Chicago Bears win a division before the Minnesota Vikings win a division, starting with the 2024 season.
I wouldn't tell that to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, but as they are currently
what you
constituted,
right?
What I'm saying is that we have seen this play out, which is we never cut the cord. We never say, we should not have re-signed Dalvin Cook. We should not have re-signed Anthony Barr. Rick Spielman, why the Wilf signed off on giving Harrison Smith that extension, the year before last when he still had 2 years left.
I think Dalvin Cook won us 3 games this year.
Yeah, and we're still at home in the division.
I know it wasn't a Super Bowl, so we should cry about it and
I'm not crying about it. What I'm saying is,
it's 13. I just gave him some credit, and you can't even. But we only won third. We didn't win a playoff game, but Dalvin Cook won us 3 games this year.
Okay, what I'm saying is that if I get some joy out of regular season wins, I do. But what I said to Mike before I actually ever talked to you guys, what I said to Mike when we did our preview show, it was me and it was Mike, and I think it was actually Joe. He's like, what's your prediction for the season? I said, I don't care. I don't care how many regular season wins they have. It's very, very simple.
I don't care if they win none, as long as they win a playoff game.
If they miss the playoffs, it's a failed season. It's an abject failure if they miss the playoffs. And I said that because they didn't tear it down. They said, no, we're going to push forward. When you make that choice, then you're raising your expectations. So, yes, even though Kevin O'Connell's a first-year head coach, he wasn't coming into a team.
And he's capped. He's not going to get any better as a head coach.
He very well may get better.
The team would not improve anymore.
And again, players get older. Cousins is a year older. The guy you want to absolutely say just had his best season. Well, he's a year older now. Isn't that what we've been saying about Rodgers? He won the MVP 2 years in a row, but he's another year older now. That's what we said.
KOC's fired if you have to rebuild. Because any team that's rebuilt and won 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, 2-3 years in a row has been fired. Name me 2 coaches. I don't know. Maybe there's one out there that they let them lose for 3 years in a row.
Okay. What I'm saying.
We're losing KOC. We're losing Justin Jefferson guaranteed for losing seasons because we got to trade our best. If we hit and miss on a quarterback, right, and he doesn't automatically be good in year 2, I'll give him year 2, right? We got to trade our best player still in his prime. And then where will we be? Okay, maybe we'll be better because we finally got a big value for Justin Jefferson, got 2 first-round picks and a couple more. You have to trade your good player to make it give you the better chance of getting that number 1 quarterback. And the whole time I'm thinking I'm thinking we got a guy.
You got a guy who will get you into the playoffs and has a ceiling of a wild card or divisional round of the playoffs, which is better than a guy that will not get you to the playoffs. Yes, I understand that. What I am saying is I'm willing to risk and give up the guy that can get me to the wild card or divisional round of the playoffs on the chance that I can get a guy that can get me to the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. That's the simplest way to say it. Vikings Uncensored had a very good point here. 2019 was actually the close of the 2017 window. Yes. And Tommy made a very good point. Many expressed the same thoughts on the Zimmer extension. So I'll pose it to you this way. If the Vikings had not beaten the Saints in 2019 before summarily getting dismissed by San Francisco the following week, we know with 100% certainty that Mike Zimmer was going to have been fired then. Okay? Now, nobody in their right mind is going to say that they would give back winning a playoff game. But when you look at it from the 30,000-foot view, winning that game against the Saints delayed the inevitable by 2 years. And what did we get for those 2 years with Mike Zimmer? 7-9 and 8-9. But if we lost that game, we would have fired Mike Zimmer then, and we would have started what started this year.
We had defensive players that were still in their prime that had major drop-offs. It was unusual. 27-year-old players, 26-year-old players.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? That one victory delayed moving out of Mike Zimmer and into Kevin O'Connell by 2 years. Do you understand that?
Could you possibly at least give it a possibility that it will not happen the way you want to because we just hired a coach and we won 13 games and I doubt they're going to go, hey, you're a big fan of Kirk Cousins and you basically just, you're a fan of him. and you can win with him, and you won 13 games with them. But you know what? I think we can do better. I think we're going to do better, and that's in the draft with 5 picks, and one of them's our highest draft picks, 20. You said third or something like that. That is fantasy land. That's going to happen. That we're going to run it. That we're going to bust up this team like completely. Offense, get rid of the quarterback, get rid of Dalvin Cook, get rid of Thielen. Those 2 are possibilities, but Kirk Cousins is going to be our quarterback this next year, unless we get freaking wowed, where someone takes the whole contract and gives us a couple of pretty high round picks. I'm even going to say a second. We'll take the whole contract. We'll give you a second and a couple others, but I honestly don't think they'd take it. I would say they would. The only way to wow them is give them a 1. The only way to wow them is going to give them a 1, because they're not going to be able to make the team better with anything less than that and get rid of their Pro Bowl quarterback who had his best year ever. It is fantasy land to think, hey, we're going to bust this team up and we just got done hiring a coach and went 13 wins. There's not a GM in this world right now that's going to say, to say that. I mean, you said this yourself. Put Kirk Cousins on San Francisco, they could still win a Super Bowl or go to one.
Right. Because San Francisco's roster,
and they got the last player in the draft and did it.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, it's because of the rookie contract, and they got an extra tight end. They got a they got a 20.
That's not what I said.
Only got a $25 million quarterback, and they could like, let's say we go get a $5 million quarterback. Okay, we get a nice looking, we get a really good guard and a $10 million edge rusher. That fixed the team, because now we got 2 players. Not if we went with our quarterback in 2018, just brought him back, and we saved $10 million because he signed for 18 with Denver, and we paid 28 to Cousins. We would have got a nice little guard.
Yeah.
Offensive guard that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
And we're better.
Where are you going with this?
And we're better, right? Because we got all that. We saved all that money. All that $10 million. So
are we talking about the 2018 Vikings? Or are we talking about the 2022 San Francisco 49ers? Which one are we talking about right now?
You want to go with a young quarterback because you want to save all this money. They're paying a quarterback in San Fran.
Yes, because the rest of the
and they traded off a bunch of players for a quarterback they were going nowhere with. I said the best thing that happened to the team is that they had to go with Garoppolo, because their guy they sent all those picks on wasn't hacking it. He wasn't good. He was overrated. He played 14 games in college, and they traded all that capital to get him. And what was it? The coach makes that team, and yes, they got good players. Yeah, so I'm saying let's concentrate on that damn defensive line and offensive line.
Okay, the 49ers have constructed that roster.
Right, and they have a mediocre quarterback winning all those games, man.
Yeah.
You think Garoppolo's is he better than Cousins?
No, I say they're comparable. I'm not going to say that he's better. They're comparable.
Has Cousins had a better year this year than any Garoppolo year ever?
This year for Kirk Cousins was not better than 2019 Garoppolo when they went to the Super Bowl.
We could look up 2019.
I don't care about stats. What I care about
but you just did. So
you asked me which season was better, and I'm saying I would take 2019 Garoppolo over 2022 Kirk Cousins.
And he had a better team, right, around him?
He didn't have a Justin Jefferson. I know that much. If we're going to go that route.
Okay, so we got Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
So pretty good, right?
Yeah,
but the door's shut. We're going to go around in circles. I'm just saying I don't want to go an entire offseason talking about the door's shut.
To answer the question that you had, and then we got to wrap here because we've been on for almost.
Yeah, and you can share this one on Facebook. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm saying is that yes, San Francisco's roster, 2 through 53, not counting starting quarterback, is miles better than the Vikings.
Yes, Rhino. I know he's making like $10 million less because he restructured, and he's not, and he didn't quarterback the team into the playoffs.
The last 5 years, he's been making less than Kirk. That's
so we would got a nice little guard out of that.
My point is that San Francisco built their roster with high draft. San Francisco after Harbaugh and after Colin Kaepernick were no longer with San Francisco. They were bad for 3 years. And then they rebuilt that roster, which is why their offensive and defensive lines are so outstanding. It's because they took a step back. They didn't try to keep that window open. They said, okay, you know what? This window's closed. We're taking a couple steps back. That's why you could trade for Jimmy Garoppolo from New England, who wasn't on a rookie contract. He wasn't on a mega contract like the other quarterbacks were. Because Nick Bosa.
Who'd they hire as a coach? Just asking after Harbaugh.
I don't remember. Was Shanahan there before? Was there somebody between Harbaugh and Shanahan?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Because people have situations. We hired a coach. We won 13 games.
Yeah.
Teams who hire brand new coaches that win 13 games in the rookie year set a franchise record do not blow up the team. I'm just trying to be realistic, man. I'm just trying to be realistic.
I'm not saying that they're going to. What I'm saying is you asked me, as a fan of 43 years old who has seen this same song and dance over and over again, what I would do. This is not what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to do what they always do, which is, no, we're not taking a step back. We're going to just reload and keep on pushing and hope. Their strategy is to try to be the New York Giants. That's what the Wilfs have always modeled themselves off, because they were huge Giants fans. They were huge Bill Parcells fans. And the Giants getting in 2007 at 11-5 as a wild card and running through Tampa Bay, Dallas, and Green Bay, and then beating New England, and then 4 years later as a 9-7 team doing the same thing, beating New England. Their motto is just get into the dance and let's see what happens. And that's
your model is blow up the team and be Buffalo that didn't win a Super Bowl.
My motto is, at some point I am bored with just trying to get into the playoffs as your starting point.
How many fans are going to not watch games at 4? I mean, realistically, it's a business decision.
Yes,
it's a business decision. You just named 2 times a team did what you don't want us to do. They won a Super Bowl. No one thought Cincy was going to go to the Super Bowl last year.
But Cincy is sustainable, which is why they're playing next week, because they have a franchise quarterback on a rookie contract.
Yeah, but they didn't blow up the team. They hired, you're wanting to hire you as a fan think we just hired a coach, and to keep Justin Jefferson and that coach in line for 10 years of success or more is let's blow up the team. How as a fan do you want that? Because both aren't going to be there. Both these, you like KOC, right?
Yes, I like KOC.
You like Justin Jefferson.
Rooms to improve. Justin Jefferson is my favorite guy. He's the only jersey.
Both gone in your scenario, most likely. And it's pie in the sky to think they wouldn't be. Is all I'm saying.
No, what I'm saying is that there's a different way to get.
We were devastated when we lost Moss. I thought as fans we were devastated we lost Moss. We didn't run it back, right? We traded. We drafted a receiver.
We're talking about a team.
Drafted a replacement high.
Come on, dude. Now you're being ridiculous. I expect this kind of ridiculous out of rap. I don't expect that out of you.
I'm ridiculous. You saying we're always running a? You say
I'm
you want
saying since the Wilfs have bought this team, they have done everything in their power never to be bad. They are more concerned about not being bad than they are being great. Their objective is to not be bad first, be great second. And sometimes when you put most of your effort into not being bad, you limit yourself as to how great you can be. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying at some point it's okay to reshuffle the deck and get rid of players. And if that means you have an off year, that is okay. That's what I mean when I say don't run it back. It means it's okay to have an off year. To Tommy's point, since he sucked for 5 years and they won the lottery, just like Buffalo won the lottery.
Oh, the lottery, right?
Yes.
You want to play the lottery.
I'm willing to play the lottery as opposed to playing the mediocre, staying in the middle all the time. Yes, I am.
This year was mediocre, staying in the middle.
You got to the wild card round and lost.
I know everything is determined on, one game of the season. I know, I got it.
Thank you, Rhino.
I had a good freaking. I know you're like echo chambers, man, but like, thank you for agreeing with me to the chat. At all. I haven't even reading the chat.
He brought up a point.
I apologize. I haven't been reading the chat because I'm so determined to.
No apology necessary. All I said was thank you for reminding me to a point that you made a moment ago. Is we traded Moss because Red didn't want to pay him the roster bonus that he was due because he was about to sell the team. And that's a very good point. That the only reason we traded him is because Red was cheap. But my overarching point, Dave, and I think sometimes when I say certain things to get my point across, I don't entirely mean them as literally as they sound. What I'm saying is I'm okay with the team taking a step back if it needs to. And I think at this point, they need to take a step back because they've refused to take a step back for years, and it's gotten to us being a very good team that is very rarely trash, but it's also very rarely great.
Is that going to be our motto this year?
What?
It's our motto every year, right? That's what you said our motto is. Basically, that's our motto every year.
Yes.
We're rarely ever great. We're never really trash. Man.
I
just didn't want my channel to be like this, man.
It's not about that. It's okay to have a different opinion. Look at
but this is our motto.
No, this is my motto.
Before we ever, we do. There's been a couple times we're like one before we die. We're like rehashing another channel's logo or slogan, and we're doing pie charts now. And I'm just like, come on, man. Let's be a little more optimistic of the fact that we haven't drafted anybody, we haven't seen free agents to anybody, we haven't cut anybody yet.
That's all well and good.
Which I hoped we were going to talk about today, man.
It always gets a little off topic when we let Rap join us. So
it does, and
if we don't agree on anything,
I remember trying to get this guy on to be my moderator to change the direction when necessary, because I will continue to talk about it.
Yes,
guaranteed.
I think if nothing else, we can agree that this got out of control when we let Rap on. But what I'm saying,
dude.
We've been on for 2.5. We're gonna go. We'll try to do this again next week, maybe. I don't know. Well, no.
Nothing with Kirk. Get rid of Kirk. We're winning nothing with Kirk. Got it. I got it. We'll bring you a Zoe. We'll sign. We got shows coming up. We'll get you as a dedicated guest.
Yeah.
You can talk. In fact, I still need someone. I'm gonna be gone. Well, you want me on the show to go after me, I guess, apparently.
Oh, that's right. So
I don't
know. Next week we're good, right?
I don't know how I'm tripping that I'm going to say the team is not going to get rid of Kirk next year. I just don't know how I'm tripping. And that we won 13 games and we're not going to bust up the team. I don't know how that is possibly tripping. To anybody to say that Kirk Cousins was not a good quarterback this year or not worth keeping.
I never said that either.
Didn't say that, but apparently I'm tripping.
Who said that?
I'm tripping. Enzo podcast. Dave's tripping. Let me get on the show. All I've been talking about is, hey, they're gonna keep going. Hey, we actually had the chat link in this thing 3 times, but it's already 9:30.
Yeah, no, we got
9:53. We've never gone this long ever,
no.
And it's all because our favorite player we got to talk about, Kirk Cousins, and apparently it's good practice, good business sense to get rid of your Pro Bowl quarterback off his best year after he won 13 games.
It's called
I am not tripping and saying that Ziggy Wilf is not going to do that. I'm not tripping.
You've got an asset that's got 1 or 2 good years left. You sell high on it before it devalues. That's business. I'm messing with you. Zone, hey,
I didn't even hear that.
No, it's fine.
I was trying to read. You still got the same comment.
Bandinos, you funny, dude. In all seriousness, we got to get up out of here. We're gonna be on next. We got our guest lined up for next week, right?
Yeah. We got Sal Spice coming on.
That ought to be interesting. We'll see we'll have her set us straight one way or the other.
She was a big Kirk Cousins detractor.
Yeah,
and she changed her mind.
And she's like me. She
might have jumped back. We'll find out.
Well, exactly. We will find out. We'll see if she's What
I said she was a big Kirk Cousins detractor, and you just said, like me.
I was, and then I said
I thought you were middle of the road. I thought that everybody's there. I'm like middle of the road. No, you're not.
She was, when you say detractor, I think of that.
No, as she wanted him gone, gone.
Then I apologize.
It was probably after 2018.
I didn't think she was like, I would not put her in the Kirk Cousins.
She was nominated. She was nominated as biggest turnaround on Kirk Cousins on Twitter by what's his God, I just forgot his name. Dustin Baker.
Yeah.
She didn't win. Apparently, someone else was a bigger turnaround. Oh, Mackey won.
Well, I suppose.
Which I thought he was just trying. He just didn't want to look like a fool, pissing on Kirk Cousins while he was winning all his games. I think that's why. But he's back. Mackey's back.
No, he's Mackey is no different than me. He's just got a bigger platform than I do. He's the same.
I mean, I could read here if you want.
Yes, I've read his. What he said the same thing I did, which is we can't boil it down to one throw. But
call him PFF. PFF loses credibility if you think Kirk Cousins was, whatever. It's like crazy. Anyways, he's back. And the whole show's back. Show's back.
No, to evil, we ain't bringing Zimmer. What's up, Jim? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's funny as we're about ready to get up out of here. Now the chat re-bumps up the numbers here again. If you haven't already subscribed to Purple and Gold for Days, please do so. If you haven't already subscribed to Minnesota Sports Talk, please do so. Go to both channels, hit the like button.
And if you want to watch this channel this week, all the rest of the offseason about how we have no window and the door's shut, tune in. Tuesdays at 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern. Doors closed, everybody.
No, doors.
Skull Vikings.
Not what I said. I love how you talk about rap taking you out of context.
You literally agreed with the guy when he said the door is closed. Door shut or window shut. Window shut.
Super Bowl window is shut. Yes, that's different than saying shut it all down. I'm saying take a step back and don't be afraid to take a step back. Don't be afraid to take.
This is our peak year next year. 2023 is my peak year for us right now.
Yeah.
With this team.
Yeah. And I for the third time, and we're gonna get out of here for real.
Peak year.
Yes. Go after they said we are not gonna blow this up. I said, okay, the reason I wanted them to is because with this roster as it's currently constituted, if everything goes well, they will have 1, maybe 2 good years. And so we'd just be delaying the inevitable, just like we delayed the inevitable after the 2019 wildcard win over the Saints by not getting rid of Zimmer then. You can agree to that, can't you?
We got a brand new coach, man. We're not. If you want to bust up this team, we'd be bad for 2 years. They'll have to fire KOC, bring in a new coach, change the culture because nobody wants to come play for a losing team. Nobody wants to get. I mean, I literally have to repeat this over and over again. We have a brand new coach that won 2013 games, and if we want to, I mean, God, I don't even know why people are watching me say the same thing over and over again. Why are you guys still on? I can't believe you're still here. But hey, if we're gonna be here, I'll say it again.
I guess we're doing something.
Teams will not. Free agents will not come here. Rookies will not re-sign to a team that is losing. That has a freaking tax problem. It just won't happen. Why did what's his name from KC go to Miami? Tyreek Hill instead of the Jets. He wants the lifestyle of New York, but he said his number one reason was the taxes. I mean,
that's
bad team.
That's the part where you're jumping.
Bad team. Coach on his way out because he's lost 2 years in a row. Because we're rebuilding with a rookie quarterback that we may or may not be able to draft. That is more rolling the dice and lottery talk than anything I'm talking about. And as far as being a Kirk stan, too evil to hope, you're much more of a Kirk hater than I am a Kirk stan because he's a Pro Bowl quarterback that won 13 games there and set an NFL record. I am more in the right than you'll ever be on Kirk Cousins right now. And I detracted 2007. Hey, I can say what I want. He can say what he wants.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not personally attacking him.
No,
am I? No, not at all. I'm saying he's calling me a Kirk stan, and that's usually a euphemism for usually a slur. Honestly,
no, stan is not a slur.
Kirk stan.
Do you think being called a Swiftie is a slur? Taylor Swift.
Think about this.
Is that a slur?
What do you think of Joe Spinoza?
Joe Espinosa isn't a Kirk Cousins stan. He's so beyond that. Okay, I'm not going to put anybody in his category.
What do you think of him?
Well, we'll talk.
You want to admit on air?
No, we're not going to. Anybody who knows, knows. If you know, you know. There does nothing need to be going out over these airwaves on YouTube, on either one of our channels, that's going to tell anybody.
If you're calling someone a Kirk stan, you're meaning it as an insult, right? So guarantee it, it's an insult. Right?
You're not a stan in that context.
You're saying 10%. You've said this. 10% are so drastic on this side. 10% are drastic on this side. That 10% is called Kirk stans, and it's meant as an insult. Right?
No, what I'm saying is that you got your 10% here, your 10% here. Joe is beyond even the 10%.
I know I don't want to put you on the spot on Joe, but
no, that's fine.
Sorry,
anybody who knows me knows. There's no mystery to that.
So I am saying
you're not in Joe's category.
I am more in the right about Kirk Cousins right now, this moment. I would even say last year, than Too Evil to Hope, that thinks he's a top 15 WNBA player, a 32nd best WNBA player.
Too Evil is just doing that to get you going. I mean, that's what Too Evil does.
And if as long as he keeps giving me money, I'll be happy.
Thank you. I think he buys the opportunity to give you crap because he throws.
Too Evil Hope. That is better. That is better.
There you go.
And this is one of the things that Phil Mackey said. I'm going to say it on the show.
We really got to.
That's why people don't respect Kirk Cousins. And I tweeted back to him, which I'm sure he didn't read. By people, you mean you.
You. Yes, I saw it.
By people, you mean you. Hiding behind a opinion that you find popular.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing.
Hiding behind is not brave. Let's just put it that way. The opposite of brave is saying people disrespect. There's not a person with a conscience that wouldn't look at Kirk Cousins' lifestyle, family life, abilities, and what he's, accomplished. I'm going to say it. I mean, he's one of the winningest quarterbacks percentage-wise in Vikings history. Third best in any player that played over 50 games. Maybe even second. He's probably second now behind Frank Tarkenton. Yeah, I think he's second now with quarterbacks that played over 50 games for us. Because there's other guys that have higher ones, but they only play like 30. You cannot admire that. Honestly, can't. He went into Michigan State, and I only know this because I looked back because I had Rap tell me he's never won anything. And he did. He won a Big Ten championship and he won a couple of bowl games. I'm like, he wasn't expected to be the starter at Michigan State when he was coming in there not the starter at Michigan State. He worked his ass, became the starter. Won that, it was a shared Big Ten championship because they didn't have the championship game or whatever. Right. But and then goes in 4th round pick. It was a 3rd or 4th, I think. And they have a top 5 selection. He's not going to win that job. He's destined to be a backup ass quarterback forever. Dude, man, if you can't respect that, that's just silly. I respect him more as what he's accomplished than him as an NFL player. More of what he is as a person, as a human being, than I would ever put on him as a quarterback. His quarterback is secondary to me of what I think about respect. And that's sad that you would go on Twitter with with your audience and hide behind what people say.
I think he meant it as a quarterback, not as a person, though. I'm gonna say it like this, Dave. I've met Phil. I've met Phil.
I don't know, man.
In person a couple of times, and Phil, and I've said this to his face, and he said this to me. He's like, "Yeah, I know." Phil, if you don't know him, can come across as a touch condescending. Okay. And in Twitter, it's even worse. But when he said respect Kirk, he did not mean it as a person. He meant it as a legitimate.
Then why didn't he come out and clarify?
Well, did you listen to his show the next 2 days by chance or no?
I was just watching him on Twitter, man.
Okay.
I had a new job and getting ready for how many shows.
As somebody who listens to Phil and Score every day, he did. He said, okay, I said that right at the moment. And okay, after having watched back that film, yeah, he was in a very tough spot. Doesn't change my opinion that I still think he should have tried a different option besides Hawkinson. But
I thought you were going to talk about how this is why people don't respect him.
Yeah.
He didn't take that back. He
was referring to him on the field, not as a person. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Yeah. So
we'll go with that. But I've heard other things he said before the season that
I've said plenty of things before the season. I've said them to you.
I'm not going to go after a guy like that. I like Donatello as a person. I'm not going to say he's. I haven't even said he's a shit coach. I've said he needs to get fired for his performance. I mean, it's not a stretch to say that, but I'm not going to say no one respects him. Everybody respects Donatello in that locker room. Everybody loved that guy. Yeah, and we ever had the hopes from him.
I don't know.
Nobody respect. People. That's why people don't respect him. This is a really.
He didn't mean it as a
crazy thing to say. And then he goes after Joe for a little bit, on which I agreed with Mackey. I mean, he's like, Joe's he's not a Viking fan. He's not a Viking fan at all. Kirk Cousins fan. So right. He don't really pay attention to the history at all. So Mackey gave him a thing, but then he goes after the PFF guy, because PFF guy had a different opinion of him. And because he said that you were losing credibility, and the PFF guy jumped in to defend his thoughts. And Wayne, you're losing credibility.
Yeah.
He started going after people that had a different opinion of him. And I tweeted, I said, is anybody allowed on your show or in your vision of Twitter to have a different opinion of you than you? I mean,
yeah.
Than a different opinion in you. I don't think so. I don't hear any detractors come on his vent line. They have the guys. They haven't let me back. I don't know. They haven't let me back. And I stopped asking after like week 6. Mm-hmm. Like I'd email, no response. Email, no response.
No, they haven't tried to me. They know me. Like I said, I've known Phil since 2009 or 2010.
But I'm like, you're not. I mean, I'm bringing Luke Braun on my show.
Yeah, you know what?
And I had criticized him earlier in the year on some of his takes, like squeaky voice, and we just won a big game, and the big detraction was squeaky voice.
Yeah.
And and he did his opening was him in Washington going woo wee, and he's changed that to you like that from one of the big wins we had.
Right.
I mean, I'm not, but you know what? When I get him on my show, I'm going to talk about the 2023 season and, what we can do to improve the team and all that. I'm not going to go, hey, what's with the rabbits? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get him on my show and hear his opinion without contradicting him the whole day. I'm not, I don't know. Thanks for staying on so long, guys, man.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? We did not intend for this to go the way it did, but then Rap said he'd join. So of course we got to let Rap in. And of course, he puts a quarter in anybody and then we go on for forever. And to be clear,
I'm saying Phil, I know Phil Mackey's got a good heart. I know all those guys got a good heart, but
he comes across
Twitter's a bad place when you get what you put out there, man. And
I know.
I don't
mean to sound like
the worst thing I said about Donatello on the Twitter was I'm on Donatello watch. What's gonna happen? And I'm like, and right now I was like Rhino. I'm like, why is he still he's still a Viking? And but God, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I said some shit in my life, but I was like, holy crap, I'm gonna take that down. That's absolutely ass. Or I'm gonna apologize for that. That's absolutely ass. or something to that effect. But I don't know. It's not out of a personality. When something's not out of your personality, it means it's probably real. It's like, I don't know.
All right, for real. I got to bust up out of here.
All right.
In all seriousness, everybody, thank you so much for joining Under the Lights with Justin and Dave. If you don't already subscribe to Purple and Gold for Days, why the heck not? Please help me.
Dude, I respect these guys. They've done a lot. Rhino, man.
Yeah.
Or who was that? Was that Rhino?
That was Rhino. Yeah, it was Rhino.
Dude, I mean, yeah, dude, everybody's allowed on my show. I'm just saying, I don't think everybody's allowed on theirs.
No, to even we are not doing a 24-hour stream. All right, you stepped on my touch ball. Take two. Thanks, everybody, for joining Under the Lights with Justin and Dave. This is Justin with Purple and Gold for Days. Please like this video, share it, and please subscribe.
Yeah, you're uncensored, man. You need to say shit. That's your motto.
Yeah, okay. Dave, I'm trying to get you some pub here. Let's try this. Take three. Thanks for joining Under the Lights, Justin and Dave. Purple and Gold for Days.
24-hour stream.
Yeah, exactly. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the like button on both our channels. If you don't already subscribe to both channels, subscribe to them. We'll be back next Tuesday at 6:30. Sal's confirmed. You said yes?
Yeah.
All right. We'll be on with Sal Spice. She'll be Under the Lights, and she'll set us straight one way or the other. And oh, by the way, yeah, I will do my best to get Phil on the show. I don't know that I'll get very far, but I will do my best. But anyway, thanks again for joining us. Go Vikes.
Right. That'd be a big win.
Have a great rest of your evening. Take care.